LSU looks for its 9th straight win against South Carolina.
Welcome to SEC Saturday night.
There's a party going on around town. It's one rowdy cowboy throwdown. Miles around, the best of the best come here to put their tough to the test. Give it all for gold or go home broke. When they opened up that gate, welcome to the show, welcome to the home of the world's biggest rodeo, where the stars light up the night underneath that Texas sky. Welcome to the show, are you ready for a ride? Yeah, you better buckle up and hold on tight, where the Bayou City streets meet the country roads. Welcome to the show.
From Tigers Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you're watching SEC Saturday Night, presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet. And the Fighting Tigers of LSU, the 11th ranked team in the country, waiting to take the field and hoping to bounce back from their first loss of the season. A season that started with national championship expectations, and now that they've burned their mulligan, they're going to have to play perfect football in the toughest conference in the game. It starts tonight for Brian Kelly's Tigers. Let's get you down to the field. Cole Kubelik with Brian Kelly.
Coach Kelly, after a week off, what should we expect to see different about Garrett Nussmeier from a health perspective?
You know, he's got to play with a fearlessness. That's who he is, right? He can't be in a position where he's trying to make the great play at the line of scrimmage. Let's go play football. And sometimes, if it's not the right play, figure it out.
As far as your defense goes, slowing down Lenore Sellers, where will your eyes be first to see if you're going to be able to slow that down?
Well, certainly tackling. We have to tackle well. If you tackle well, we'll be in good shape. He's a big guy. You got to get him on the ground. So this is all about tackling.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Cole, thanks. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers. There's no question that Garrett Nussmeier is the engine that makes this LSU offense go. But due to injuries dating all the way back to fall camp, they've been stuck in neutral. LSU tells us he's as healthy as he's ever been, and perhaps the arm strength will look improved tonight. That feels like a pivot point for this LSU team.
No doubt. That's the question every LSU fan wants to know, is how healthy is you? You can see the telemetry stats that we have right here. There's ways to measure arm strength, velocity, time to throw, how fast the ball gets there, and every measurement is not the Garrett Nussmeier we saw last year. Much different. So with the bye week, got some time off, didn't throw the football. We're going to see a different, more healthy Garrett Nussmeier. Hopefully so, and that maybe means more explosive offense from the LSU Tigers, something that's been missing.
We'll be facing a chaotic South Carolina defense. For more on that, here's Cole with Shane Beamer.
Coach Beamer, we have not seen a healthy Garrett Nussmeier this year. How does that change how you want to attack him in this game?
It doesn't. He's a hell of a player. He can make off-schedule throws. He's an athlete. He's a competitor. He's tough. He can make every throw out there. Got a ton of respect for him. We expected him to be at his best coming off a off week, and we know we'll get his best tonight. We got to, we're not going to change the way we play defense. We got to line up and go compete and win our one-on-ones.
You're peaking at the kickoff. Did it go the way you want?
We won the coin toss, so we're off to a good start.
There you go. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
They did indeed win the coin toss. They deferred, so LSU will receive to start this game. And we'll get to see the South Carolina defense, which turned around their Kentucky game last time out with 1 quarter of chaos and quarterback pressure.
Yeah, it's been a staple of Clayton White in this defense since he took over reins a number of years ago. They create havoc. They create touchdowns and momentum plays on defense and special teams like we're used to seeing from Beamer ball. But the problem is the offense hasn't matched that defensive intensity and game-changing ability. Lenore Sellers, after being a potential Heisman favorite, a potential top 10 draft pick, a little bit of a slow start to the season, but the last couple games you really started to see the Lenore Sellers we expected. The design runs increased. The out-of-pocket throws and accuracy was much better. You're starting to see this offense under new offensive coordinator Mike Shula really hit their groove, leading Lenore Sellers to kind of put a Superman cape on at times and be the best player on the field like we all expect he can be.
And then the task is to come into Death Valley and win a night game against LSU. LSU has dominated this series. They have won 20 games head-to-head with South Carolina and only lost twice. They've only lost once in this building to the Gamecocks. That was back in 1994. What a scene here in Baton Rouge. We'll see this LSU offense to get things started. That's if there's not a huge return for this LSU special teams unit. And it's a concern for Joe DeCamillis, the special teams coach for the Gamecocks. And on a Saturday night in Death Valley, we are underway. No return for Barry on Brown. You heard Brian Kelly talk about it. Said the same thing to me pregame. He wants to see Garrett Nussmeier cut it loose. He said, you're the quarterback at LSU. You should be playing with swagger. The question is he healthy enough to play with swagger?
Yeah, a lot of times as a quarterback to make fast decisions, you need to be confident. I don't think we've seen a confident Garrett Nussmeier. His fastball is not what he's used to it being. Maybe tonight we see a little more confidence. We see a little more tempo from this offense. Don't allow him to make too many decisions at the line of scrimmage. Line up, get the ball to your playmakers in space, and maybe good things will happen.
Caden Durham is back in the starting lineup after missing last week's loss against Ole Miss with an ankle injury. And Nussmeier goes under center. That's a rarity. And pressure up front. Dylan Stewart immediately with a tackle for loss. That's -4 yards on the first play as we get to know the impact players when LSU has the ball.
Well, you got a front row seat to one of them right there. Dylan Stewart, one of the best pass rushers in the entire country, along with Jalen Kilgore, really talented nickel on that side of the ball. Going to have to deal with him all day. And the healthy Caden Durham and wide receiver Barry Brown, who's going to be taking a lot of the heavy lifting with the absence of Aaron Anderson.
LSU hasn't scored on an opening drive all season. Flag on the play on the perimeter catch by Jawan Johnson. In fact, over their last 3 games, LSU's offense has totaled only 15 yards on its opening drive.
And part of that has been the struggles in the run game. On early downs, they're not getting
All right, Dave, thank you. We welcome those of you who watched Tennessee take care of Arkansas tonight. What was a close game at the half, and the Volunteers pull away late. Opening possession for LSU and Garrett Nussmeier. And after the penalty against South Carolina, they're looking at a more manageable 2nd and 8. Freshman Harlem Berry is now the running back. Berry looking to get to the edge. And this will set up a 3rd and 5. All right, this should be a good look into where Garrett Nussmeier's arm strength stands on a 3rd and 5.
At LSU, this offensive line that's got a couple injuries. Left guard Cohen Eccles will be in there for Paul Mabenga, and Weston Davis, the right tackle, matched up against Dylan Stewart here on this 3rd down. Back in the lineup after missing a game. Big responsibility for him tonight.
And it's Brian Thomas over the left tackle Tyree Adams. Nussmeier stands tall in the pocket, tries to jump. It's batted down and incomplete. It'll be another 3 and out on the opening possession for LSU's offense.
Boy, I mentioned Dylan Stewart on Weston Davis, the right tackle, back in the lineup. Watch him on the right side of your screen, just condensing the pocket into Garrett Nussmeier. Nussmeier feels it, unable to get to the check down, and already 2 plays out of 3. Dylan Stewart making an impact in this game.
And so LSU to punt it away. And Dravius Jacobs stands back at the 20 to receive it. And Chadwick, not his best effort, but it takes an LSU bounce and trickles inside the 20, where Jacobs rolls the dice and finds nothing after a 53-yard punt. Lenoris Sellers has been running the ball a little bit more for South Carolina. He was the focal point in their Kentucky game with the ground game. And so that effort, certainly with the QB run game, got this South Carolina offense back to where they thought they were going to be before he was injured against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, this offense has really struggled with the traditional run game, so a lot more of Lenoris Sellers on these design runs, a lot more of Lenoris Sellers outside the pocket on boots and nakeds, getting him the opportunity to use his legs as a weapon. I expect to see a lot more of that tonight.
And Sellers under center, movement on the left side. The ball came out, and LSU LSU says they have it. Patrick Payton with the fumble recovery on the first play. And LSU's defense flexes its muscles early on this Saturday night.
Boy, it's been a revolving door at center. Rodney Newsom, the left-hander in there at center. But how many times a game do we see Lenore Sellers under center? Not many.
Not very
a
often.
handful. You got first play in Death Valley with the crowd, and it's just a mental mistake. His hands split a little bit. That ball hits the ground. And a huge momentum play early for this LSU defense. A monumental mistake from South Carolina. I don't love getting under center. First play. On the road, hostile environment, quarterback that doesn't do it a ton.
And so back to offense for Garrett Nussmeier and LSU in this short field. And Juwan Johnson takes the snap and takes it straight ahead to pick up 6 on first down.
This is where that run game is really going to be tested for LSU. They kind of went back to old school techniques in practice all week. Hitting more sleds, getting on the chutes, trying to get these offensive linemen to fire off with a good hat level and get better push at the line of scrimmage, something they've struggled with for the first half of the season.
On second and manageable, trying to work the left side. And Juwan Johnson gets tackled after maybe a gain of 4. Ron Kelly said he wants to see his quarterback play with a little bit more swagger. And after going 3 and out on its opening possession, maybe LSU can take advantage of the takeaway to find the end zone.
Well, this is where a big target like Trey'Dez Green being healthy is big down here in the red zone. He's a mismatch.
Nussmeier looking, fires a little behind Green. Second time in the last 2 games that they've failed to hook up in red zone situations.
Boy, this is just going to be a little stick route from Trey'Dez Green. It's zone coverage, so Garrett Nussmeier is expecting him to come up here and sit. He's going to come up and break out a little bit too much. That's why that ball is behind. Nussmeier feels Jalen Kilgore in zone coverage out there, doesn't want to lead him into that, so just not on the same page there with Trey'Dez Green.
Damian Ramos on for a 28-yard field goal attempt. And a line drive punched through to put LSU on the board.
Boy, the opening fumble, I want you to watch the left hand of Lenore Sellers. The snap's going to come a little low. That needs to get up to his right hand. Now Lenore splits a little bit, but it's a low snap from Rodney Newsom, causing that fumble initially. And again, we go back to the fact that South Carolina doesn't do it a ton, about 7% of the time, but first play, no one's really up to the speed of the game. The crowd's going. It's a tough spot, and you've had a revolving door at center. Worst case scenario there. It should be a routine play. Worst case scenario.
Cole, South Carolina operates out of the shotgun on 93% of its offensive snaps. Are you surprised they would go under center in the first play tonight?
I am, and I know they probably worked it during the week, Tom, but it's just not routine. It's something Jordan will tell you. We did center quarterback exchange before every practice. I did about 1,500 snaps after practice. In the summer, I'd go out with quarterbacks 200-300 snaps a day under center. That's not what they normally are. So, yes, a little surprising that you want to open up in this place against this defense that way.
Out of the shotgun to start their second possession. Russell face-on the well-traveled running back. That was a wide snap, and face-on thrown down for a loss of 6. Harold Perkins Jr. creating havoc for LSU.
Boy, watch Rodney Newsom, the center here. He's going to pull this ball way left. It's a great catch by Lenore Sellers. That is another off-target snap, this time in the gun. Again, it's been a revolving door at center. Second consecutive start there for Rodney Newsom. But he's got to settle in right now.
South Carolina has won in the stadium only once in their program's history. That came in 1994. To show you how rare that is, in a stadium where it never rains, it was actually a downpour that night.
I'll tell you this, I don't want my center going very hard left or right here.
They're going to run left with Sellers. He finds the edge, but still, this will set up third and about 8 for a road team in Death Valley. Can't be easy.
No, not at all. That's the first design run we've seen. Obviously, that's going to be a theme tonight. Talking to Shane Beamer, they did it 7 times last week. He says, we need to do a tenfold this week, right? It's got to be a big part of our offense to get us kick-started. But here on 3rd long, you got to make sure you can block Harold Perkins and this blitz-happy defense from Blake Baker. Let's see if they bring pressure or drop off. There's Perkins. He's going to drop off.
Here comes Whit Weeks. They set up a screen. Faison weaves his way through LSU and takes it up to the 40 on a pickup of 13. A perfect play call from Mike Shula to counter the LSU pressure.
Yeah, it was a simulated pressure. They're actually going to drop Perkins and bring Weeks right here. So it feels like blitz to the offensive line, but only 4 guys are coming. Actually, they bring Delane late. I didn't even see that on a corner blitz, so it was a blitz from Blake Baker there. Great play call, screen to counter it, and maybe that's the momentum South Carolina needs to kind of settle into this game.
Give some insight as to how they want to use a very dangerous Harold Perkins Jr. from a pressure standpoint tonight. A misdirection, dump out to the tight end. They love this play, and it's a physical run finish by Brady Hunt. It's a very similar play that they started the LSU game with last year that they opened against Virginia Tech with this year.
Yeah, they love it. It's a split zone look, right? You're faking zone to the front side, and that splitter, the tight end coming backside, he's going to bluff the end, get in the flats. Easy way to get some positive yards and an easy throw for your quarterback.
Another blitz by LSU. This is Vendravius Jacobs, who has switched to number 4 this week and still keeps up his consistent production. That's a gain of 17.
Well, we had South Carolina a couple weeks ago, and this staff was saying we got to find somebody that's going to emerge from that wide receiver room. Jacobs back-to-back 100-yard games. He is becoming the go-to guy. Young, talented receiver really coming into his own the last few weeks.
LSU with a line shift pre-snap. Sellers tries to go straight ahead and manages 2 yards before the tackle machine. Whit Weeks, who is just a football dude, comes in to make the stop.
Football dude's a great way of putting it, man. We got a chance to talk to him. He was so excited to talk about ball. You know, and his teammates, like there's just an energy that comes from all these Weeks brothers.
Whit Weeks is to football as a Labrador puppy is to a tennis ball.
Exactly. Great way of putting it.
Out of Oconee County High School, where he played alongside his brothers, and he's playing with them here at LSU. Sellers dumps it off, threw too much mustard on that one, and incomplete. That's Jordan Dingle. South Carolina, Cole, loves to use its tight ends. They've already gone to Hunt once and now Dingle.
It goes back to what Jordan was saying a little bit earlier. They marry everything up. Mike Shula does a great job of showing their alignment and then some of the fakes and how he uses them in blockers in a very similar fashion to how he gets them out on routes. I would imagine here in protection, they're going to become even more valuable.
Elite LSU defense, elite LSU crowd. They've had the Tiger juice today. Sellers, QB draw. Stop after a gain of 2 to Marcus Cooley, the freshman from Eastern North Carolina, is the first one there.
Yeah, it was a really good job by Tamarcus Cooley. He's lined up over Jordan Dingle, the tight end. Dingle goes to lead block for Lenora Sellers. He follows it, and great tackle in the hole. He was the last line of defense there. If he's not there making that tackle, Lenore's has some green grass and maybe a touchdown. It's a big stop from LSU after a really good second drive from South Carolina.
William Joyce on to attempt this one. He's 4-5 on the season. 47-yard attempt. Never had it. Never will. Started right and stayed there. South Carolina finally puts a drive together, but they can't complete it. Well, college football's celebrity it couple is now young Miss Landry Kiffin and LSU linebacker Whit Weeks. What she may not know about her boyfriend is that he gobbles down 2 cups of coffee immediately before every game. Her dad, after the Ole Miss game, said, I guess we're running too much on you. He said, no, sir, I just had too much coffee. This is the result when he has too much coffee pregame.
No, it's going to be a double time, too. He's like, look, I know I throw up after I drink coffee every time, but I got to do it.
Cole, I mean, football dude, and by the way, his girlfriend's dad eked out a 24-21 win against Washington State today.
I mean, he's just a pure pleasure to speak with, and he came over to me before the game and just smiling ear to ear, asking me how I was doing, and I was like, I'm great, man.
You know what I love about this guy? He told us, he said, Southern football is the Super Bowl to me every day. Nussmeier looking for a screen. Instead, it's his tight end, Bauer Sharp, who lowers his shoulder and is able to pick up the first down. What do you want to see from Garrett Nussmeier tonight?
Well, first I want to see how healthy is he. We haven't seen him push the ball vertically. Watching closely his mechanics. Talking to Joe Sloan, the offensive coordinator, because of the injury, started to kind of get some bad habits in practice, kind of going through the motions 50%. He's got to load up his back hip more, rotate through the throws like we're used to seeing last year. That's what I'm keeping an eye on early.
That hip injury is what should have sidelined him for a good chunk of fall practice. They only kept him out for just a little bit. So we take a look at what he's doing pregame.
Yeah, and this is a drill. We used to call it stork drill. Maybe we should have called it flamingo. But he's trying to re-emphasize getting weight on that back foot, loading it up, and then rotating through. Something we haven't seen the first half of the season. He's been getting really long with his strides. He's been leaning on his front side. That's when you see the accuracy and the misses high, and that's when you see the velocity dip as well. So if he's healthier, he's going to be rotating through and loading up that back hip a little bit more.
On second down, he's going to try and scramble, and he lowers his shoulder, dives across the logo. That's a first down run by Nussmeier. If you joined us late, we talked about his arm strength as measured this season, and the celebrity tools tell us this is not what he is supposed to be. He is a gunslinger by nature. A lot of deep balls when he first got here at LSU. Now they tell us that the velocity with which he was throwing later in this week has finally held up, and it hadn't been like that all season.
No doubt. And this data that we have measures how long it takes the ball to get there, how far it traveled, gives you miles per hour and velocity, and you can just tell by the data in your eyes.
The ball carrier made the line to gain. The previous play is under further review.
As they're going to look at the spot of this play, that this is not the Garrett Nussmeier that we saw last year. He's got good arm strength. So the injury definitely has affected him. And not just with our eyes, but again with that data that we can track. And I loved the conversation we had as we look at the spot here.
Knee is down. It'd be short by maybe a full yard.
Half a yard or so. I love the conversation we had with Brian Kelly that mentioned, hey, we have chips in our footballs. Something that I actually had no idea. They have chips in the football in practice, not in games, obviously, so they can tell you exactly what the miles per hour is and how it's sustained through the week. And so they noticed that first half of the season, when they'd get to Wednesdays, Thursdays, the velocity would really be dropping on his throws, and he'd be fatigued and not 100%.
And Cole, Jack Marucci doesn't just make baseball bats. He's deep in the technology, and they're using that to figure out where Nussmeier is.
I don't know what Jack Marucci doesn't do for this football program, but he was explaining to me about those footballs with the chips in them so they can measure, obviously, miles per hour, spin rate, spin velocity. I don't know what the terminology with this would be, but he said if it's a duck and if it's not a good throw or if it's a wobbler, he's like, it'll measure that. It'll measure maybe why it's off because of the angle that is coming out of his hand. He said they have chips in them. We can take the chips out, replace them. They're chargeable footballs. So you just plug them in and charge them. They're ready to go the next day, and they get all that information every practice.
Did not make the line to gain. It'll be third down at the 49.5-yard line.
And so the important part about all these measurables is not just where Garrett Nussmeier is, it's where he is this year relative when he was at full strength last year. And that is a very steep drop-off.
Absolutely. I mean, I had Garrett Nussmeier as a Heisman favorite and my #1 quarterback in the SEC based on what I saw last year. And this has been the result. It's a team that cannot push the ball vertically. And when you struggle running the football, and you can't push it vertically, the field shrinks on you as an offense. So if he is healthier, I expect to see a few shots here in this first quarter. Show this South Carolina defense that you can go over the top, force them to play deeper coverage, then the run game opens up, then the quick passing game opens up for this offense.
Well, the run game has been abysmal over the course of the season. Caden Durham is the back here. They loaded up, needing less than a yard. He gets stoned at the line of scrimmage. I don't think he got it. Far side line judge came in to make the spot. Nick Barrett is the injured Gamecock.
Boy, and it's Dylan Stewart meeting Caden Durham right at the line. Boy, Dylan Stewart has been so impressive early on. Just stonewalled right tackle Weston Davis and then makes the tackle. Watch him on the right side of your screen. That's a big man that he's just saying, you're not going to move me. And then with one arm making the tackle on Caden Durham while reinforcements show up.
Had to get to the 50 to pick up the first down.
It's going to be close. Where they have it spotted, it's the nose of the ball is right at the 50.
And you can think of it like the goal line. Like you just have to break the plane in the front of that chalk line.
Yeah, I think it's going to be by a hair a first down. But, man, Dylan Stewart making an impact early in this game.
Kind of expected that with the struggles that LSU's offensive line has had over the course of this season. He was a game wrecker against Kentucky. Nick Barrett is on his feet and headed back to the South Carolina sideline. Meanwhile, they signaled that he did indeed get enough for the first down, but based on where the ball is placed, he got it just by the nose of the football.
Hey, just a heads up, Tom. Nick Barrett is 10th among SEC defensive tackles and snaps played this year. South Carolina has 3 of the top 10 at that position. They don't play a lot more than those 3 at that spot.
Their depth will be tested early in this one. Third possession of the night for LSU. They went 3 and out on its first, and a short field for a field goal on its second. Sling out to Kyle Parker. That'll set up 3rd and short.
Yeah, Kyle Parker, young talented receiver, getting some more opportunities because of the Aaron Anderson injury, and a great identification of blitz and getting the ball to your hand quickly by Nuss.
Pardon me, 2nd and short, and maybe just enough for another first down. Indeed.
To feel pretty good about what Brian Kelly said one of their main goals was in the bye week. Go through the chutes, push the sled, put your hand in it, come off the ball, get a little bit of movement. That's 2 short yardage situations they've been able to convert.
Colt, nobody knows exactly what a shoot is. You're going to have to explain that. And
I know
just what a torture system it is for offensive linemen.
Harlem Berry, the freshman running back, flanks Nussmeier. He escapes to the flat, and they go to him there, and he's immediately taken down by Sean Murphy. All right, explain the shoots and why they're so much fun for offensive linemen.
All right, I tell you what, here, I'll show you real quick. When you're coming off the ball, stay back a little bit there, Dave. So you're coming off the ball, basically picture a giant square frame over me. So we come off the ball, we want to fire out instead of firing up, which is what Brian Kelly's been talking about his offensive line's been doing. They've been firing up, and they haven't even put their hand on the ground, so they've been like this the whole time. And when you come up, that loses leverage. You're not able to get a push. You're not able to get a drive on those defenders. So you go through the chutes every day to work on firing out.
But that's a metal shoot, by the way.
It's metal bars, yeah.
Clangs loudly. Here's Kyle Parker again. They leaned on him in the Ole Miss game, had 4 catches. He met with the media this week. He said, I always want the ball in a big moment. When they asked him if he was a diva, he said, well, I'm not a diva, but I'm not afraid to get dirty. I'm a little bit more workmanlike than your typical LSU wide receiver.
I'd always be weary of the receivers that weren't divas, that didn't want the football. I want my receivers to be so confident they think they're open every single play. Now that'll bite you sometimes.
Yeah,
against Tennessee, Jordan Matthews threw his hand up in triple coverage. I threw an interception when I was at Vandy, so not always open.
That's my look right, goes back right's got a deep ball into the corner and incomplete. Trying to find Nick Anderson.
Boy, good velocity on that ball from Nuss. Just a hair too long, trying to find Nick Anderson working on the right side on Bakari Swain. Ball's actually in a good spot. Did Anderson slip there kind of at the end?
Bakari Swain had a lot of jersey on that route.
Yeah.
Relatively balanced through 9 plays of this possession. Took over after a missed field goal from South Carolina. again to the intermediate game. Regardless of if that should have been PI on a play, what'd you think of the velocity of the arc and the deep ball from Nussmeier?
Yeah, it looked good, and I was really just watching his feet, right? Did he look like he's driving off that back foot a little bit more? It did look like it on that play. Again, that's still not a throw that you're putting, 90% of your effort into. So I want to see him really rip an intermediate dig or something. But watch his back foot. You can see he's loading it much more. That back knee is going to be bent a little bit as he pushes off. It's always going to come off the ground eventually. It's when does it come off the ground? Too early or just at the right time? That time looked good.
Nussmeier backing up. Gets hit as he throws. And finds his tight end, Trinez Green. A one-time LSU basketball player picks up a Tiger first down.
Oh, Nuss is a little banged up after that one. Dylan Stewart working again on right tackle Weston Davis. Watch this move as he comes around the corner. It's a great job. A little crossover. Working through a chip as well. And I think got in on the lower body of Nuss.
Here's Xavier Thomas. Squeezes it down to about the 1 yard line.
It looked like on that tackle from Stewart, Nuss's legs got tangled up a little bit. He's limping, but pushing through here in the red zone.
Johnson, the lone back, Nussmeier under center. They had a 4th and 1 that Nussmeier didn't check to. They had to burn a timeout late in the Ole Miss loss when he went under center. Now he flips the gun, and Johnson gets bobbled up, and the ball came loose. See if LSU recovered it. And South Carolina comes rushing out with the football. There is no signal from the officiating crew. Jaron Willis found the football after it was coughed up in the end zone or over the goal line.
Well, DQ Smith came and made the hit at the goal line. It was a great move initially by Juwan Johnson of avoiding Troy Pikes, who came through almost untouched.
This may not be easy to sort out for Steve Marlowe and his crew. Chris Rape is our replay official tonight.
South Carolina.
Nussmeier's here in touchdown.
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense in the end zone. Touchback.
And if this stands, both teams would have coughed it up in the same vicinity tonight. We'll take a long look at this one. We'll do the same as we step away to pay some bills. Juwan Johnson towards the goal line. We'll see when the ball came out. Maybe we'll have a decision when we return.
SEC Saturday Night is presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet. If you didn't know T-Mobile has home internet, you do now.
Another great weekend in Red Stick. The Stars are out for this one, and they're not happy with the way this turned out.
Johnson trying to reach out right at the goal line. Gets knocked out by Monkel Goodwine. And look at the down the line. I think this ball is moving right before it crosses the plane. That's a great call by the officials on the field.
Both teams have turned it over once tonight. Lenora Sellers checks it down. And a fancy move cut back to the inside by Brian Rowe Jr., the true freshman wide receiver.
Well, we kind of knew this game was going to be a little messy at points, right? Both these offenses kind of struggling to find consistency, and so far both turning it over once. We'll see if South Carolina can capitalize.
Neither team has an effective run game. It feels like every yard Cole they have to scratch and claw for, and that sets up 3rd and 1.5.
And you just wonder who's built better for that. Yeah. Probably the mobility of Lenore Sellers. You would lean South Carolina from that perspective, but neither one of these offensive lines has been effective rushing the football, and the run games just haven't been there.
They love to keep it in the hands of their quarterback, Lenore Sellers. And with misdirection, he hands it off, and it busts for a big one from Matt Fuller. And Fuller is off to the races. They call him a bowling says they can't run the football? Longest play of the year for the Gamecocks. There is an injured South Carolina offensive lineman, Shedrick Surratt, the left guard, still hasn't gotten up. That misdirection is what they usually run to the perimeter. Jordan, they didn't go to the perimeter that time.
No, how many times have we seen that tight end coming across the formation and Lenora Sellers faking it and trying to dump it off to that tight end? What an answer from this South Carolina offense, and Matt Fuller, who's been more of the featured back. They've been trying to figure out who their go-to guy in the backfield has been as well. 19 rushes for 48 yards. Watch the motion. You're going to see Jordan Dingle come across the formation, and watch how it affects both West Weeks and Harold Perkins. They're both going to go with the motion, thinking, oh, this is where they throw it to the flats. Nobody left at the second level for Fuller. One move on Cooley, and he's off to the races.
Fuller had half of his season's carries on the final drive against Kentucky to put that one away. They're looking for more explosiveness. He has shown it.
And that's the exact play we were talking to the staff about, how much they love using it early. LSU obviously probably repped it a million times in the week, and they're like, okay, this is where Lenoris likes to get outside the pocket. He'll either dump it off, or we got to worry about him running. And that's where you get all eyes on that and nobody on Matt Fuller. And look how happy Shane Beamer is for his redshirt freshman running back. That's been big for them the last 2 weeks.
South Carolina, whether it be special teams, defense, or what they do offensively, may be one of the most creative teams in the SEC. They are not afraid to change things up to find, even if it leads to imperfection, they at least cash in on the creativity.
Yeah, and it's not reinventing the wheel. It's just knowing, hey, this is a staple, something we like to run, this concept. Split zone look. Sometimes we play action off it. Sometimes, we hand it off. But how can we do it out of a different formation? How can we show it early, which they did, right? They hit the tight end in the flats, and then get everybody thinking that's what's coming and cross them up. That's exactly what they did there. A great call from Mike Shula in this offense that has struggled at times this year, but finding their footing here.
It started with a goal line fumble recovery, actually into the end zone by the South Carolina defense, and it's finished by a 72-yard Matt Fuller run. First 3 drives, fumble, missed field goal, and then a touchdown. And South Carolina's got its first lead of the night in a stadium in which they've only won once in program history. In fact, as Surratt gets helped into the tent, they've only beaten LSU twice.
Number 10 for LSU is wearing number 84.
23 games over a series history that dates to 1930. They lost, or probably they won the first game at 1930 at Old Melton Field in Soda City. It was an eventful opening quarter of play here in Red State. And we're not quite done yet. Marion Brown, an electric returner. Here from the 6, it's Cooley. Now let's get it to our friends from Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Any gate can be a tailgate.
LSU's offense put together a 9-play, 46-yard drive last time it had the ball, but they came up short with a goal line fumble, and Nussmeier a very efficient 7 for 10 to start this game. Harlem Berry in the backfield. Great meeting with Garrett Nussmeier yesterday. It's been a very frustrating season for him given the injury situation and the lack of productivity, but he was as professional as always, going through how he feels and how he's looking as an optimist at this LSU offense getting it going. Looks as healthy as he's been. Unfortunately, turnovers the name of the game through 1 quarter. South Carolina took advantage of Brian Kelly's team's miscue. 7-3 Cox. It's a 73 lead. Every big play comes with a step back. Here's Cole with Shane Beamer moments ago.
Coach Beamer, Cedric Sirocco's down. I know you're excited about the touchdown, but I saw your reaction running back to him. You're already a little bit thin there. What does it do to your offense the rest of the game?
Yeah, it doesn't help. They said he's got an ankle. They're checking him out right now. I haven't gotten an update. Obviously, that's not ideal. But, you know, we got some other guards that can get in there and compete. And next man up if he's not able to go.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, pressure on Garrett Nussmeier again as he converts with Kyle Parker. Third catch of the night already for Parker. We were talking with Clayton White, the defensive coordinator for South Carolina, and he said, you know, going into every game, we ask, who's the fish? We got to find the fish, and they want to try to attack this LSU offensive line that has underperformed for a variety of reasons over the course of this season. And Durham sneaks over to pick up a first down.
Yeah, and it's an offensive line. It's a little banged up, right? Paul Mabenga is out. Cohen Eccles is in at left guard. They've blitzed him a couple times directly already in this first quarter. Weston Davis obviously struggling a little bit on the right side with some one-on-ones and Dylan Stewart.
That's Gabriel Brown-Dindy who's hurt. So he was backing up Nick Barrett. All right, so if you were Clayton White and you saw the numbers of this LSU offensive line measured as wins above replacement, who does that tell you that you want to attack with two really good defensive ends?
Yeah, it tells you want to attack Weston Davis on the right side. As you can see the ranking there, 608th out of 653. That's just a complete composite of who you are and your value as a player, from protection to impact, etc.
They've got Sharp, the tight end, helping them out this time, and they're going to try to keep it on the ground. Durham sheds a would-be tackler, and he takes off down the sideline before J.R. Johnson pops him out of bounds. So it's a pickup of 23.
Boy, it's a really good block by Cohen Eccles right here. Watch him just go one-on-one with Brian Thomas. Hands a little bit on the outside, but great initial push. He drove him 3 or 4 yards downfield. That's the push this offensive line has been missing the first half of this season. Eccles stepping in. Great block there.
And now first down, Nussmeier to throw. Lobs it. It is a flag drawn, and that's a successful play. Chris Hilton matched up with Brandon Cisse. NFL level defensive back.
Pass interference. Defense number 15. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Yeah, Brandon Cisse is South Carolina's best corner. Joe Sloan mentioned we want to avoid him when we can. Chris Hilton actually takes an inside release here, which makes it really tough on Garrett Nussmeier. But where to put this ball, he did about as good as a job as he could. You see the contact from Cisse down the line there.
And he's got a guy in the perimeter, Chris Hilton, whose straight line speed is 11th fastest in the country among 531 wide receivers.
He can roll. So when you got a one-on-one matchup, you love his speed. That time, you just got to get an outside release.
Now they're going to slant here, and a nifty move by Trey'Daz Green after the catch. And he takes it down inside the 5, a pickup of 15.
Trey'Daz Green, 6'7", 240 pounds, kind of a hybrid tight end. He's a mismatch anywhere he is. You saw the athleticism there on the slant, and a South Carolina player.
This is the third different South Carolina defender who's been injured here in a quarter plus tonight, and leads to a stoppage of play. They already had Nick Barrett go back to the tent, and then that was followed by Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy. And Shane Beamer trying to keep his guys positive, but that was Brandon Cisse who took some friendly fire from a teammate.
And you can see Clayton White just going, man, a couple interior defensive linemen down and off the field with injury, and now your best cornerback taking friendly fire, laying on the field.
Well, you hate to see this. Cisse has a fantastic future as an NFL defensive back, the best coverage guy on the field, but got upended by his own man. Back to Baton Rouge in a moment. Saturday night presented by T-Mobile 5G home internet. South Carolina having injury issues. This is a big one. Brandon Cisse helped off the field by the athletic training staff as we were headed to break. They lose their best cornerback. They just got Judge Collier back. He missed a few games with injury. And Cisse into the tent. LSU looking at a 1st and goal from just outside the 6.
And that means Bakari Swain, the talented punt return, will be in there for Brandon Cisse. Talented player, but obviously not the same caliber.
That is a big loss. You go with multiple tight ends, including Green. Jawan Johnson split out as well. Empty backfield. Nussmeier to the corner. And there it is. They finally hook up with Trey'Dez Green. A 6-yard strike to the 6'7" tight end out of Zachary High School. There's a flag down, maybe a little excessive celebration. That'll bring the swagger back.
Haven't seen that version of Garrett Nussmeier in a few weeks. The ball was absolutely on the money. The 6'7" tight end, a mismatch on whoever.
After the score,
he lines up on.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 10, offense. The 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. That's the first unsportsmanlike for number 10.
Bauer Sharp gets flagged.
He's just trying to celebrate a little too much, maybe, with this tight end buddy over there.
So Damian Ramos for the point after. LSU has reclaimed the lead.
I mentioned the size of Trey'Dez Green at 6'7". Judge Collier, who's going to be in coverage here, is 6'2". He's not a short corner by any stretch of the imagination, but the ball up and away on the shelf is absolutely perfect. You cannot put that any better if you stood there and handed it to him. Watch the location. There is nothing Collier can do. He's in great position. Just can't climb the ladder with a 6'7" tight end.
What a weapon for LSU to have. He was Matt McMahon's LSU basketball roster beginning of last season, and Nussmeier has settled into a rhythm.
LSU number 3
for
is
his
now
last
wearing number
11,
86.
averaging nearly 9 yards per completion.
Remember, Joe Sloan told us he wanted to try to get him singled up just like that, and then Garrett Nussmeier came and met with us a few minutes later, and I asked him, I said, do you feel like when he's one-on-one, you just kind of lob it and he's going to go get it? And he said 100%. If I get him manned up, he's probably getting one floated his way.
Well, Brian Kelly, whatever that conversation was, did not look enthused with the information he just got from Blake Baker. Got to wonder if that might be injury related. Nick Harbor, All-American track speed, with an opportunity here from the 7. Harbor trying to find the outside and takes it past the 30. All right, let's revisit how we got here. If you're a little late coming to us tonight, the first snap of the game for South Carolina, they fumbled it and set up LSU in its second possession with a short field and a knuckleball sidewinding field goal went right over Cole's head. South Carolina couldn't answer. Why, right on its field goal attempt after a long drive, and after a goal line fumble, South Carolina ripped off its longest play of the season, a 72-yard run with a freshman from Jessup, Georgia, Matt Fuller. Trey'Dez Green had the answer from Nussmeier. Well, here we are. And Sellers hands it off to the first man in the I formation. That's Rasul Faison.
We saw Harold Perkins blitz off the side there and kind of be caught in between running back and quarterback. That's been an interesting situation, watching how Blake Baker has been using Harold Perkins in this defense. Hasn't been able to affect the quarterback maybe as much as LSU would like.
Backup linebacker Devon Keys is on the field right now. Sellers chased out of the pocket, throws back across his body, incomplete. South Carolina will get a flag out of this. Everybody on the O-line saw it. A little bit late, but came nonetheless. And now it looks like A.J. Halsey will be slow to get up.
That's just a mental mistake from Tamarcus Cooley. That ball had no shot at getting completed.
Pass interference, defense, 0. Automatic first down.
Cooley just way too early Ball well high. Brian Rowe never had a shot. Cooley with the early contact, and you mentioned the friendly fire there, collision with A.J. Halsey as well.
Sellers out of the pistol. They're going to try to reverse it off of it, and Brian Rowe Jr. I believe, just short, a yard and a half short of the first down.
Brian Rowe, one of those talented true freshmen. South Carolina signed 7 of them this offseason. Didn't take any wide receivers in the transfer portal. They've been allowing this talented group to develop, and Brian Rowe, one of those guys that's been a standout last few weeks. Need to get him more involved, though.
Here's face on, and he gets hog-tied after picking up the first down. Jack Pyburn brought him down. Pyburn, we're told, had a negative impact on LSU's O-line availability against Ole Miss. He popped his teammate Weston Davis when they're going through pregame drills, and Davis didn't have his helmet buckled. Gave him a broken nose and a concussion inadvertently. Davis couldn't play. Sellers cuts back, wants to unload, can't, and somehow escapes. He got through the first 3. It ends up being a gain of 1 instead of a loss about 5. Walter Mathis finally got him.
These are the plays that are just demoralizing for a defense, right? It's not a big gain for South Carolina, but you had him dead to rights behind the line of scrimmage for a sack.
Yep.
And he breaks 2 or 3 tackles and gets a positive gain, even though it's a couple yards.
He is 6'3", 240. He is hard to bring down.
You can't bring him down. Not in the open field, man.
Jared Brown in motion, and flag thrown. Movement. South Carolina.
Illegal snap. 50 offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Cole, that's the second center who's seen action in tonight's game for South Carolina. Rodney Newsome had a couple of bad snaps early. What do you see at that position?
Well, Shane Beamer told us that's the reason that Boaz Stanley was not in its center anymore, was because of some snap infractions, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't understand how it happens. You start the play. The play starts when you snap the ball. So unless you're attempting to try and draw someone's offsides, moving the ball a little bit, trying to be a little herky-jerky, I don't know how it happens.
Result is a 2nd and 13, and another flag and movement again up front.
False start. Offense number 5.
Jordan Dingle that time. This is a South Carolina offense which was at its worst against Missouri. They had 14 penalties for minus 98 yards in that game. 7 of those were pre-snap. 6 were false start and 1 offside.
You're going to see a late shift from the LSU defensive front. Jordan Dingle flinches.
Not what Shane Beamer wanted to see. They're going the wrong direction.
Boy, watch quarterback draw here. No linebackers in the box.
Sellers, quick release, little behind his intended receiver, and Harbor couldn't find it.
A little miscommunication there. That ball, not sure if Sellers thought Harbor was going to stop.
An incomplete pass. 3rd down.
Had a little pressure in his face, but Nick Harbor, such a unique talent, still developing as a wide receiver.
3rd and forever.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. The previous play is under further review.
The Harbor went down, and as he did, he was juggling it on his way to the Bermuda. We'll see further review if he got his hands underneath.
This might have been a really good catch. Let's see. Oh, no, it did hit the ball, or hit the ground, excuse me. I thought for a second it bounced off his hand that was on the ground, but I think that ball definitely hits turf. I mean, a heck of an effort, though, for a guy that, you know, like, hands have been a little bit of an issue for him as he develops from just a, as you mentioned, Olympic-type athlete with Olympic speed to a guy that can be more than just a run-down field, go catch it.
After further review, the ruling on the field is upheld.
It's not just Olympic speed, it's his size. It's
Yes.
6'5", 235. He is so tempting, and you know he's going to blow it up at the combine, and somebody's going to love to have this guy come into their camp.
Again, it's the intricacies of playing the position, right? The route running, be able to run more than 3 or 4 different routes. The hands, the consistency of the hands. All that's still developing, but man, he has made strides from last year to this year.
3rd down and White apple to go for South Carolina. Sellers adjusting his running back. Big jump on the far side. Sellers escapes again. And he dances up the sideline. Ends up being a gain of 1. And South Carolina will have to bring the punt team now.
And he almost had Nick Harbor way downfield. It would have been really tough for Sellers to flip his hips and make a throw about 50 yards.
Start the game clock.
Watch Nick Harbor right here. He's going to run all the way downfield, put his hand up as Lenora Sellers escapes. Not sure if he would have seen it, but that is a fast human being that is running past to safety. Again, would have been a near impossible throw, but Sellers would have been capable of it.
Mason Love, the punter. This is Xavier Thomas at the 15. 32-yard punt. Just about midway through the 2nd quarter. Beautiful weekend at Red Stick. LSU by 3. Here's a new twist on Fansville, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Celebrities out in full force at Death Valley tonight. Hey, Jamarcus Russell in the building tonight. Leonard Fournette. Nobody could carry it like he could. He was all smiles pregame. Theo Vaughn thought he was a Vandy fan. He was with Brian Kelly pregame. And the Rookie of the Year, 24, also a national champion for Jay Johnson, Paul Skeens. And, she seems to be on his hip no matter where they go. What did Skeens have to say pregame, Cole?
I'm just going to say this. Super nice guy. Super appreciative because there's an 8-year-old and 5-year-old at the house. They're going to lose their friggin' mind when they see what they got from him. So. May or may not be an autographed baseball.
Oh, really? You just carrying a baseball around with you?
There's a guy named Panamsky that maybe helped me with that.
To the edge, first catch of the game by Marion Brown. Did you have Libby autograph a bean?
I did not. No, I didn't think that they would have even know. As kindergartners and 2nd graders, that's not really in their wheelhouse yet.
Well, you and Libby Dunn have some history, don't you? Didn't you do a bit on SEC Nation a couple years ago?
We have been on the beam together, yes. Didn't go well for me, but
she's a national champion as well.
The beam is hard, man. You don't realize how small that thing is.
It gives you a whole different perspective. Yeah, the backflips and whatnot. You're like, man, you guys are landing on this? That's insane.
I could hardly stand on it. I will say, foam pits, though, very fun. They're so hard to get out of.
They're very hard to do it.
I panicked. I couldn't get out. I thought I was sinking. It's like,
the coaches told me, Jordan, we don't think you can get out. No,
yeah.
You're not allowed to.
That's what quicksand feels like. That's what we were always so scared of growing up, is the foam pit.
Nussmeier goes under center, and Caden Durham bottled up.
I'm going to tell you guys one thing I think is going to work against this LSU offense long run tonight. First play of the game and that play, they have not gone under center and evened up the formation, basically showing right and left runs evenly. They've done it twice and it's failed both times. They need to get to that more, and you don't like to see them failing, Jordan, because it's something that they really do need to come back to.
Yeah, a lot of tendencies when you run out of the shotgun in an offset formation. Good defense coordinators like Clayton White can really game plan against that. One way to counteract that, like you said, is get that running back behind the quarterback.
And now 3rd and 7. Carolina bringing the house. Nussmeier smoked, and it comes up short. Fred Johnson, JR, came right up the middle, and Nussmeier can't quite get to his feet steadily.
He grabbed his right ankle immediately, Tom.
And remember, he was banged up earlier on the hit by Dylan Stewart on that same leg.
If there's anything positive for Nussmeier, it's that it's not his hip. Michael Van Buren is the backup. He's seen limited time so far this season. LSU will punt it away. They'll have a moment to check up on Nussmeier. Here's the hit.
Fred Johnson coming clean. Nuss did a great job just getting rid of it.
Bakari Swain, most dangerous in the country. He's one away from his South Carolina school record, but that one over his head and into the end zone. A 71-yard punt by Grant Chadwick.
I mentioned earlier, one of the puzzling aspects of this LSU defense is how to use Harold Perkins and how to get him to affect the quarterback more. When I go back and watch the tape, time and time again, I see him rushing the quarterback from way too much depth, or after the snap has already occurred, not right at the snap. You see he's just a couple steps away, coming from 11 yards deep. Here, this one triggers after the snap, after the quarterback's already hit his right foot, coming from 9 yards deep. He's just never going to get to the quarterback, even though they're pushing it downfield. And here's the time when he does trigger right at the snap, but he's coming from 4 yards deep. I want to see Blake Baker use Harold Perkins at and around the line of scrimmage a little bit more. Give him an opportunity to actually get to the quarterback. You can see the pressures, the impact have just not been there for Harold Perkins this year.
They fake the reverse this time, and Sellers keeps it, has nowhere to go. All right, so the counter to that is Blake Baker says, well, we feel like we're a little bit too predictable. Brian Kelly said if we line him up just over the tackle and show that he's coming, they can put together some blitz beaters. What do you give up by not putting Perkins in that pass rush situation?
Well, I think if you dictate to the defense like that, you can say, well, if he's up in the line of scrimmage, they're going to throw it quick. Great. Then you can plan for that as a coordinator. When you have an idea of what they're going to do, you can use that to your advantage. If you're not using him as a weapon and he's just out in space in coverage all the time, you're not maximizing his skill set.
Sellers pressure, escapes again, and throws on the run. It is a falling catch made by Brian Rowe. Lenore Sellers isn't just a great running quarterback, but he seems to be a better thrower and more efficient when he leaves the pocket.
No doubt. You know, mechanics have been kind of a maturation process for Lenore Sellers. When you're a really good athlete, you get outside the pocket, mechanics go away. You just let your athleticism take over, and so you're starting to see Mike Shula use that more and more, also gives him the opportunity to run it.
Even if it wasn't by design, on 3rd and short. Straight ahead, first down, face on. Transferred from Utah State, one of his numerous stops.
We haven't seen yet this South Carolina team really push the ball vertically. And that's actually something that Lenore Sellers does as good, if not better, than almost anybody in the country. He's 12th in the FBS in completion percentage on throws at 20+. He was really good. I think 6th overall last year at right around 50%.
Well, he threw for 300 yards against Missouri on just 18 completions.
Yeah.
That was the scope of their offense, hitting the big play in that win in Columbia.
And with how much LSU is pressuring and dialing up these blitzes, you're getting one-on-one coverage on the outside. So if you're able to give Lenore Sellers some time, you can try to exploit that.
Sellers hands it off. And they get a first down run from Jared Brown. Atlanta area native who started his college career as a Chanticleer at Coastal Carolina.
Actually a wide receiver. They didn't even have a running back on the field in that personnel group. 4 wide receivers and a tight end.
The traditional run game, if you want to call it as such, for South Carolina is generally non-existent. They hope Matt Fuller can fix that issue. He did with a touchdown run earlier tonight, and now flags and whistles and movement.
False start. Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's Josiah Thompson, who was a freshman All-America last year. Cole, this Carolina offensive line has been discombobulated a good chunk of the year.
Well, and a lot of that is, as you mentioned, you start the first 5 games of the season, 5 different combinations. That means you're probably, if you got guys dinged up, Tom, you're not practicing together, you're playing with guys who didn't practice. It's tough to gain that continuity.
And now 1st and 15. LSU brings 4 and they get free. And Sellers somehow eludes the pressure but still gets hurried into an errant throw. What's going on up front for South Carolina?
Well, it's just eyes in the wrong spot. If you're Boaz Stanley, watch the center here. He's going to have his eyes to the left, way wide. Nobody's coming from this side, so he loses track of the guy right in the A-gap.
Slide protection.
Slide protection just not working to their advantage tonight so far.
Right, Kelly thinks that should have been intentional grounding. And to the perimeter and incomplete. Trying to hook up with Jared Brown. Now 3rd and 15.
This is a familiar spot for South Carolina. They're 134th in the country with an average third down distance of just under 9 yards because their inability to run on 1st and 2nd down. I expect this ball to come out quick. A screen, an easy throw in the flats. Try to break a tackle and see if you can pick it up. Looks like pressure.
Sellers steps up in the pocket. Beautiful play. Lobs it downfield where it is intercepted. Tamarcus Coley with his 2nd pick of the season. And LSU gets the ball back here in the 2nd quarter. Second turnover of the night for South Carolina. And for this opportunistic LSU defense, it's another interception for Blake Baker's crew. Eighth interception of the season for LSU's defense. Gives them the ball back.
Yeah, it was just cover 1. Watch, you're going to see a corner route at the bottom in tight coverage, but I want you to watch the eyes of Tamarcus Cooley. He's going to roll to the middle of the field. He's going to be that single high free safety, and he's just going to see Lenore Sellers looking left the entire time. Ball hangs a little bit, and a great play in center field by Cooley.
They have more interceptions already at this point in the season than they had all of last year. And Nussmeier drives that one to Trey'Dez Green, who picks up 8.5.
Tell you what, just by my eyes, the velocity looks so much better from Garrett Nussmeier.
Yeah.
Right? We saw a couple weeks ago the ball missing high, floating a little bit, maybe not as tight of a spiral. He's driving these footballs. He's been accurate. That ankle is taped up. Obviously, he's been banged up a couple times already in this game.
And the handoff goes to Caden Durham, who picks up the 1st down. Going back to what Brian Kelly told me pregame on the field, he reiterated it to Cole pregame as well during the pregame interview. He wants Garrett Nussmeier to play with some swagger. He said, just let it hang out, man. Just go play football. And Garrett Nussmeier, when he's at his best, it's not even a question.
That's who he is, right? I mean, we used to throw around the term gunslinger just because he was not afraid to take chances, but that was when he had his fastball. He is looking a little bit more like tonight. That fastball's back. Maybe not quite hitting 100, but hitting up around 96, 97.
Steps up and goes deep down the middle of the field. This is Hilton. And it popped loose before he could secure the catch.
And that right there is a throw that the last couple weeks we've seen end up short. That ball right on the money. Hilton just tracking it, maybe a little on the back hip, so it was underthrown by a yard at most. This is a ball that Chris Hilton's got to come down with. Really good throw by Garrett Nussmeier, and you can see a little bit of the frustration, right? This is something they haven't been able to connect on coming into the game.
Another injured Gamecock, Jalen Kilgore, helped off by the athletic training staff.
Yeah, coming into the game on throws of 25+ downfield, just 1 completion all year.
So you know, but what's interesting, we're talking with the staff and Joe Sloan, and it didn't seem like they really tailored the offense to his injury. They're still taking those deep shots.
Yeah, and maybe because Garrett's the kind of guy that he wants to be in every rep of practice. He wants to gut through any injuries. Like, he's probably out there saying, no, I'm good.
Yep. Even though
obviously we knew he wasn't.
And Sloan in the middle of the front row of the booth. Up here, Nussmeier on a bum ankle, fires into coverage and somehow threads the needle. That is complete to Caden Durham. That throw came with ego.
You want the definition of a gunslinger? Look up that throw right there. That was tight coverage on the run, man underneath, man over the top, and somehow it got through.
A timid quarterback doesn't even think about it. They shut Nussmeier down from a throwing perspective over the off week. They said he got some work in, just some towel work, just going through motions, and then started throwing again this week. 126 in the country in deep balls. That's 25 plus air yards. Big departure from where he was last year. Check at the line by Nussmeier. On 2nd and 7, 4-man rush. To the outside, just a little bit wide for Xavier Thomas. It leaves 3rd and 7. What do you like here?
Well, you know, talking to Joe Sloan, he loved the idea of going empty at times. Clearing the picture for Garrett Nussmeier, trying to create some matchups with some of their faster slot guys, or Trey'Dez Green, their athletic tight end, on some linebackers. Juwan Johnson, their best pass protection back in the game now. They're not going to go empty. They will go 4 wide.
Nussmeier's coming off of his worst passing performance last week against Ole Miss, and on the clap movement.
False start. Offense number 14. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And one of the reasons so much was expected for Nussmeier is this guy was one of the best in the country in passing yards last year, threw for 6,900. And he's one of the few, only the 4th SEC quarterback to return after throwing for over 4,000 yards.
Carry those expectations into this season, right? I mean, the question mark was supposed to be the defense.
Yeah.
They look pretty elite so far through the year. The offense is the one that's still playing a little bit of catch up, but looking much better with a healthier Garrett Nussmeier tonight.
3rd and long. Nussmeier slings it over the middle, overthrows his man, and it's picked off by DQ Smith.
Pass interception.
The teams are just trading turnovers here in the first half tonight.
Oh, it's kind of twofold. Garrett Nussmeier's going to be drifting to his left to avoid pressure coming from the right. Monkel Goodwine's going to come on a stunt, and that's going to, you see how he threw it, anticipating that pressure to his left side, so he never got through the ball, left it high. That's when you slide your hand underneath that football, because you don't finish the throw, it's going to pop up and go high.
They're like Uncle Rico slinging pizzas.
Yeah, right at Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah. He's spent a lot of time on the ground tonight. DQ Smith with a forced fumble and now a pick, making his team-high 39th career start tonight. 2:14 to play. Carolina's got all 3 timeouts remaining. And a QB run on the draw. And that pile's still moving. That is a 9-yard gain. It should have been maybe 1.
And that's why you design more runs for Lenore Sellers.
2-minute timeout.
Just push the pile 8 yards.
2 minutes left in the first half. Lenore Sellers in South Carolina getting the ball back with a chance to reclaim the lead on what has been an up and down night for both sides. All right, gentlemen, thanks. Watson looking sharp. Doran go back to work. 2nd and 1, straight ahead, and a first down carry. Haven't seen Oscar Attaway the 3rd much tonight. That'll stop the clock. 1:56 for a moment.
Yeah, Attaway kind of that 3rd back in the rotation now that Matt Fuller has eased his way into the feature position right ahead of Rasul Faison.
If Carolina can take a shot, here comes pressure up the middle. To the tight end, Brady Hunt. Out of bounds, 148.
This is where we're going to get a good glimpse of just how much Lenore Sellers has continued to develop as a passer from within the pocket. Right? A presumptive top 10 pick to start the season. because of the physical skill set, the arm talent, but the consistency within the pocket is what I've been loving.
Please reset the game clock.
They kept the clock running. They've had a
148.
couple clock issues tonight. One time it didn't change. Didn't stop on a change of possession. But Hunt was clearly out of bounds at 148. Like Baker's team has 2 takeaways on the defensive side tonight. Sellers, and that one stopped pre-snap. Movement again. What is this, the 4th false start on South Carolina tonight?
Before the snap, false start, number 74 offense.
Second on Josiah Thompson, the
Still
left
second
tackle.
down. Please reset the game clock to 148.
Harold Perkins impact that?
Well, no, miscommunication again between Boaz Stanley, the center, and Lenore Sellers. Lenore stepped forward like he was going to change the play or communicate something. Watch him step forward, and then Stanley snaps it. So Sellers not ready for that.
Well, I was going to say, when you watch that from the sideline, the tackle and the center moved at the same time.
Yeah.
So almost should have been a fair game there.
Yeah, or false start on Sellers for moving forward.
So 2nd and 10. Over the middle and off the hands of Brian Rowe. Would have been a nice catch and run. There's another flag down. This one on the near side in the position of perhaps defensive holding.
Holding. Defense 0. It's a 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's to Marcus Cooley. Had the pick a little bit earlier this half.
Yeah, this is an LSU secondary that does not shy away from playing man coverage. It's kind of the DNA of Blake Baker and who he wants to be as a defense. Play man coverage physically on the outside, be a pressure-oriented team on the inside. That time just a little handsy by Cooley.
Get in trouble at the 8th grade dance.
Oh yeah, been there.
There's some room for the Holy Spirit. Sellers steps up. He's going to run for it. He picks up a first down, taking it down to the 41-yard line.
This is a designed quarterback draw, and it's a great block by Oscar Attaway coming one-on-one down the pipe.
They're going to go tempo here.
Yeah.
90 seconds left in the half. Sellers deep drop. And good coverage by Cooley that time. They're trying to sneak it into Majio Bennett. Sellers only 6 for 12 tonight for 61 yards.
Yeah, but no need to panic here. You got 1 minute and 24 seconds, all timeouts. The clock is not an issue at all. Here on 2nd and long, I almost would like to see another quarterback run to try to set you up in more of a 3rd manageable situation.
Mike Shula, offensive coordinator. First season with that title for Shane Beamer's team. 4-man rush, game's up front, and it is Bennett. Cooley was draped all over him, and it's incomplete. And now 3rd and 10.
That pressure came right up the middle on Boaz Stanley. Center struggling with snaps, struggling with protection right now, and a massive 3rd down to try to at least get into field goal range here. Tie the game before half.
The long for William Joyce is 49 yards.
Which means you need to get around the 32-yard line or so if they can pick up about 8 yards.
They're bringing the house up the middle. Sellers running backwards, and he sends that one to the sideline and out of bounds. Again, Kelly looking for illegal grounding. Whit Weeks came with Harold Perkins and Bernard Gooden.
Just an all-out blitz up the A-gap. I love seeing Harold Perkins a line in the A-gap.
And the question should be, was that intentional grounding? And now they drop the flag and announce it. The question will be whether or not he was out of the pocket. Now the pocket extends all the way back between the tackles, all the way through the end zone. So it doesn't matter how far he dropped.
Intentional grounding. 16 offense. So loss of down for spot of the foul. It'll be 4th down. The penalty carries a 10-second runoff. which LSU will decline.
Indeed.
The game clock will start on the snap.
And the yardage difference is -20.
So watch, the pressure is going to be up both A-gaps here. And here's what to watch. This is the pocket. That's the edge of the pocket there, right off the hip of the right tackle. I don't think Sellers ever gets to that point. Maybe a step or two away from it. Yeah. It's the right call.
Good
there.
call. Xavier Thomas stands back in his own 16. Driven back to the 10 and now to the 5. Back towards his own end zone. And he'll get bum rushed at the 1. That is a 51-yard punt. He lost 9 on the return. And now with that pressure defense for South Carolina, I wonder if they can create some chaos here late in the half with a minute to play.
And not a bad decision, right? He's only at the 10. That's the bad decision, is running backwards, right? They always tell you if your heels, put your heels at the 10. If it goes over your head, don't field it. That time he can field that, but you can't run backwards. You got to just eat it, go down, or get forward right away.
I feel like we're getting deeper and deeper. Returners are taking more and more chances.
Yeah, I mean, guys trying to get on SportsCenter, Tom.
That's right.
They still got the top 10 plays.
Or SEC now.
Or SEC now.
Durham is the running back. Nussmeier out of the shotgun.
Look at all the space at the bottom of the screen if you just want to flip it out.
Durham finds some room. Beamer uses the
Timeout, South Carolina. The first of the half. 30-second timeout.
I was just going to say, they got all three. You might as well force or try to stop LSU, force them to punt, see if you can get back in field goal range before half.
Well, there's no doubt that Shane Beamer's got a play or two up his sleeve if they are able to force the punt, whether that's a big-time return from Bakari Swain, who's already got 3 punt return touchdowns on the season, or a punt block.
This is where you got to be careful if you're Joe Sloan from a play-calling perspective. You're at the 5-yard line. If you're going to opt for a pass play, Garrett Nussmeier's going to be standing in the end zone. You got to be really careful with Dylan Stewart over there rushing the passer and Brian Thomas on the other side. I expect another run here.
They had Dylan Stewart compressed down inside last time. Not where you want him in this situation.
Stewart's in on 2 sacks against Kentucky last time out for South Carolina. Big home win. Out of the end zone up towards the 10. Beamer uses another timeout.
And now
47 seconds.
And now if you're LSU, you've at least given yourself a little more room that you feel comfortable punting.
30-second timeout.
And now in a 3rd and short situation, does Joe Sloan trust his quarterback, who's made a couple questionable decisions last couple drives, some good, some bad? You trust him here, or you just want to run it, try to pick it up? If you don't, punt it and force South Carolina to go 40 or 50 yards without a timeout.
Well, I think one of the questions then, and we'll get Cole's feedback on it as well, it's not just you trust Nussmeier. Do you trust that offensive line, which has underperformed over the course of the season against great pass rushers?
No doubt. And that's why I would expect a run here. I expect a safer decision. Force Lenora Sellers with no timeouts after a good punt to try to get himself and his team back in field goal range.
Cole, what do you think about LSU's O-line play to this point tonight?
Hasn't been great. I mean, how many hits has Garrett Nussmeier taken? 4 or 5?
Yeah.
He limped off the field one time, holding his ankle, got that thing retaped. He's had to duck, dip, dodge a couple to get some balls off. So, no, I don't want to put him in that situation backed up in your own end zone.
The back of his jersey is dirty, and that's not a good sign. He's also had to battle through an ankle injury. They're going to throw it on 3rd down, and it goes deep. It is incomplete. Trey'Dez Green was the intended receiver. They're letting him at 6'7" try to leg one out.
Well, the question was, how much does Joe Sloan trust his quarterback? And maybe it has to do with how healthy Sloan feels he is. That time he's like, hey, let's take the one-on-one matchup downfield. Don't hate the play call. It's a safe decision, but this is the danger zone here. Punting to this guy.
He is tied with CFL Hall of Famer Dickie Harris.
LSU number 10 is wearing 84.
He was part of an ACC championship squad at South Carolina back in 1969 for the school record. In 2-1 game earlier this season. And Swain stands at the 41. Good hang time that time from Chadwick. Swain loses his footing as he tried to take off, and after a 50-yard punt, that leaves Lenora Sellers with 35 seconds and 1 timeout.
He's had a little bit of a cooling off period here in the second quarter. Protection has been an issue, right? He's had to scramble a couple times, a couple errant throws because he's had some defenders in his face. And right now at the -40, they really need to get about 28, 29 yards to feel good about attempting a field goal. Obviously have the one timeout.
Perkins is in coverage on the slot receiver. The bottom of the formation. Sellers goes the opposite way, and it is bobbled by Rasul Faison, who hauls it in going out of bounds. Whit Weeks laid the hammer on Lenore Sellers. We asked Whit yesterday what he's like most about football. He said, I love to make the big play and hit people. Well, he did just that.
And Cole, why are we not blocking the one linebacker in the box? Why are we sliding to a linebacker that's obviously going to be in coverage to the field?
Tried to explain this to you guys multiple times. These D coordinators are actually smart, and they understand how to occupy the backside of slide protection, which is going to open up space, and they're going to replace the defender in that space.
On second down, to the tight end Hunt, and he gets leveled going out of bounds.
Your point is very well taken, though, and understood, and frustrated by.
And what it is not allowing the quarterback to really dictate protection every time. You just go, okay, well, the mic's over there, so that's who we're, that's our mic. When really you should re-mic it to the linebacker in the box, send the slide there to protect yourself.
And by re-micing, you're talking about identifying the mic linebacker is where the protection starts from. You got a timeout left. If they can move the chains and have a shot. Third down 5.
You see there, LSU was showing blitz off the edge. They're going to check out of it. Oh, they bring it.
They brought the house. Sellers escapes left. He can run for it. And he sidesteps his way out of bounds. The ball was knocked free by A.J. Halston, who, by the way, plays way better than his physical attributes.
Yeah, the blitz is going to come here, and this defender is actually going to be the spire on Lenore Sellers. The problem is he gets inside, Sellers breaks contain and gets the outside. You can't give him a blade of grass. He's that athletic. So Patrick Payton, tasked with trying to spy Lenore Sellers there, just didn't have a chance.
It's actually a great play by Halsey right there.
Yeah, almost forced a turnover. 18 seconds. Sellers swallowed up and taken down. Jack Pyburn, a game wrecker up front.
Well, this is just a gritty pass rush. There was nothing to it. It's a power rush off the left side right here. Lenore Sellers has got to get rid of this ball. Your urgency, your internal clock, just dump it over the middle of the field right there. You got a shallow crosser. Get it out of your hands. It's a 2-minute drill situation. You want to get the ball out of your hands into guys in space. Maybe would have had a chance to get out of bounds and close to field goal range, but.
And Cole, Pyburn's looking like Latimer with that face paint in the movie that was filmed in Columbia.
He plays like him too. I mean, he's gritty. He's a warrior. You mentioned game wrecker. He wrecks games in warm-ups.
Yeah, his own team.
He was going a little bit too hard in warm-ups last week. Broke the nose of right tackle Weston Davis. He wasn't able to go in the game, but as soon as we heard that story, I kind of thought to myself, and I shared it with you, Tom, I was like, I can see it from Pyburn. Yeah, you think you're kind of going 40, 50%, then all of a sudden it's not thud up. There is no thud up for Jack Pyburn. Everything's 100%. And he all of a sudden butts you in the forehead and your nose is broken.
Played a season-high 66 snaps last week against Ole Miss, 2nd and long. 10 seconds remaining in the half. Carolina is out of timeouts. Carolina's turned it over twice tonight, including a pick from Sellers. They come free from the edge. Sellers another Ole move, and he goes left-handed to throw it out of bounds.
You can almost ask that same question, Jordan, that you asked about Garrett Nussmeier down here backed up into his own end zone at the end of the half. Is this worth what you're potentially putting your quarterback in harm's way of?
Not much good can come from being on this side of the field with a few seconds left and no timeouts.
St. Beamer wants his offense to get going. Hurry up. There's only 10 seconds on the play clock as they break the huddle. And now 5. And now 1. And at 0, they get a low snap off. Sellers to his right. What a move. And he flicks this one out of bounds, out of the pocket. And that, at the very least, allowed the clock to run out. A frustrating first half for Lenore Sellers. Just 8 of 17 for 66 yards. Both teams sloppy. A pair of turnovers for each offense. And not much offense tonight when it comes to yardage. But an LSU second quarter touchdown has the Tigers out in front in a series that they have dominated as they look for their 9th consecutive win against South Carolina and trying to bounce back from LSU's lone loss of the season. Brian Kelly wanted Garrett Nussmeier to play with some swagger. He's done that tonight. He gets down the field. Cole Kublik with LSU's head coach.
Coach, your quarterback Garrett Nussmeier stayed in the game. It looked like got his ankle retaped. What was the message to you about his health when he limped off the field?
Yeah, there was nothing. Trainer never came to me, so I think it was just precautionary.
Indicative of the player that he is. Can you ask Blake Baker to go even harder on defense? It's been full attack mode, and I know you've been pleased with what you've seen.
Yeah, I mean, but, you know, we gave up 4 catastrophic plays. We fumble on the goal line. We give up a 75-yard run. We throw a pick. And you know, we just can't do those things. You know, we shoot ourselves in the foot. We got to play cleaner in the second half.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
And those catastrophic plays have allowed South Carolina to survive as a road underdog over the last 7 games to stick around in this one. 10-7. Here's Dari.
I put on my J's, you already know the dealer.
Welcome back to SEC Saturday Night, presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet. In perfect first half for both sides as we get ready for the second stanza here at Tiger Stadium. And these two quarterbacks are trying to find some rhythm. It has not existed quite yet. Welcome back. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers. Cole Kublik down on the field. One of the reasons it hasn't worked for South Carolina, Jordan, their running backs outside of the touchdown run that combined 5 carries for just 6 yards tonight. What's going wrong?
Yeah, and the result of that means 3rd and longs. You're not running the ball well in 1st and 2nd down. And LSU and Blake Baker, that's where they want you. That's when they dial up the blitzes. 5 quarterback pressures. Lenore Sellers has been forced to scramble out of the pocket. Just inconsistent for South Carolina because the lack of a traditional run game on early downs.
Each offense has turned it over twice tonight. South Carolina will get the ball to start the second half. No return for Nick Harbor. Let's check in with Cole Kublik.
Spoke to Shane Beamer, South Carolina head coach, coming out from the tunnel time. He said Brandon Surratt, offensive lineman, Brandon Cisse, both going to be out for the second half, ankle and knee for those two, so they're not going to go. Already for a thin South Carolina offensive line, I asked Coach Beamer, how do you shore protection? What can you do to help Lenore Sellers? It goes back to what you guys just mentioned. He said we have to run the football first to stay out of those 3rd, 8, 3rd, 10, 3rd, and 12s where that defense can tee off on us.
Easier said than done against Blake Baker's defense, which picked off DJ Lagway 5 times in the win against Florida. That allowed Brian Kelly to impart a very conservative offensive game plan. Pressure from the edge. Pyburn picked up, and they run it straight ahead. And a punishing run by Faison, who continues to take it for a first down. I'll pick up a 10.
Well, that's the start that you want, right? LSU brings pressure off the left side. You run zone to the right, so they're down 1 player to the right side of the field. And nice big gain. If you can build on that, this offense starts to click, right? The run game gets going. The play action pass is there for Lenore Sellers. You can get him outside the pocket. That's where the South Carolina offense wants to live.
Sellers just 8 for 17 through the air tonight. They'll roll it left. He dumps it out to Matt Fuller out of the backfield.
What did I just say? Run game gets going. Now the play action, getting Lenore Sellers outside the pocket. Little 21 personnel there. So 2 running backs, 1 tight end, getting Fuller and Faison on the field at the same time.
Well, they run 21 personnel 22% of the time. And with Matt Fuller coming on and being more of a featured back, they've gone to it more often. Now trips to the right. Sellers fakes it that way, trying to escape to the left on a design QB run. And he steps out of a would-be tackle and takes it for a first down. Pyburn only got a shoelace.
Yeah, this is a called run play, but Lenore Sellers is going to see Harold Perkins blitzing off the side right here. So he's going to try to throw this bubble. Problem is, I think that's A.J. Halsey who triggers really quickly, read that the whole way. So smart decision by Lenore Sellers to not throw that. Would have been a big negative play, maybe an interception. Instead, it's a first down.
Opening drive, second half for South Carolina. Sellers again moves the pocket. This time he'll keep it. It's good blocking on the edge from Jordan Dingle.
You can see the design here from Mike Shula, right? You saw it in the opening 15 plays, their script to start the game. And then you see it here after a halftime where you can discuss what do we want to do on this first drive? Run Sellers, get him outside the pocket.
And it feels like let's move the pocket before they force us out of the pocket.
Yes. Not on third and longs, but on second and mediums, on first and 10s.
Son of the Hall of Fame coach Don Shula. Mike Shula first year as the OC here. Another bust up the middle for Faison. That's 2 first down runs for Russell Faison out of Pottstown, PA.
Boy, that was messy up front. Jacoby and Guillory came right through the A gap. Almost blew up Faison in the backfield. He did a really good job of just being patient, navigating, then getting north and south. They need more of those. When it's not perfect up front, just getting something positive out of it instead of a negative.
Faison again, very patient behind the line of scrimmage, and he finds a gap to pick up 8.5.
Great patience. Now, that's the veteran. Obviously the grad transfer from Utah State in his 7th year of college football. He's 25 years old, so he knows this game well, and showing that by being patient, letting things sort out in front of him, and then getting north and south. Good couple runs to get South Carolina around the 30-yard line here.
And now Fuller in the game, and the pistol behind Sellers. And a 72-yard run in the first half, and the lone score tonight for the Gamecocks. And Fuller picks up another first down. All right, well, feel like Mike Shula and Shane Beamer have said we're just going to make this a black and blue game, and we're going to try to road grade our way. 6 out of the 7 plays on this drive have been run plays.
You know what that does? That starts inviting defenders into the box. That gets those safeties lower.
Calms the movement down a little bit as well.
They go trips to the right again. Sellers trying to keep it. Gets away from Pyburn one more time. There's a flag late. Jack Pyburn's trying to tackle a ghost out there.
Holding. Offense number 87. 10-yard penalty. First down.
They get Brady Hunt for holding. Pyburn's like, how do I bring this dude down?
Receiver to the trips bunch to the field even looked to catch the ball. Watch this. All 3 of these guys down here end up blocking. No one's going to look for the ball. Ryan Rowe, the true freshman, nearest receiver. Someone messed up.
Pyburn off the field for this play. Placed by Dylan Carpenter. First and 20. Attaway runs through Whit Weeks. Full. Able to pick up about 5. You know, Blake Baker is a little bit unconventional with the way he runs his defense. When Harold Perkins is on the field, number 7 in white has the green dot, which means he has the. Blake was telling us yesterday, I like to communicate directly with Perk. Otherwise, I'll send in the signals old-fashioned way so everybody can get the call at the same time. Now 2nd and long. Fuller gets bottled up. Cole, were you surprised to hear that?
A little bit, but I think when you play your home games here, How much communication do you really expect to have as a defense? I mean, you want that crowd to be on your side. It's one of the loudest environments you're going to be in all of college football. And if you have somebody who, during his career, concepts of where he's been, because he's bounced around, been some different places, and you can pop something in his ear late, even if it's just something you see where, hey, man, just go ahead and trigger off the left side and just go. I think there's value in that.
And maybe that's exactly what he's telling him right here on 3rd and long. Option look and a shovel pass off of it. Gets him back to the line of scrimmage with Jordan Dingle. Like they took that play from the Vanderbilt playbook. And it leaves 4th and 10. And they'll bring in William Joyce, who missed from 47 earlier this game.
What a disappointing end to that drive for Lenora Sellers. Started out picture perfect, and then they get backed up after getting near the 30-yard line and stall out here and now hope for a field goal to tie this game.
Joyce missed from 47 earlier, same distance here. He left that one wide right. This one from the left hash. Love, the punter, is his holder. Operation good. And that one is good. So that caps an 11-play, 46-yard drive for South Carolina, primarily with the ground game. And we are deadlocked at 10 apiece. Take it back to 1994, the only time South Carolina has won a game here. Chance of rain in this stadium, never, except for October 1st of 94. Steve Tannehill was the South Carolina quarterback. He said it rained for 24 straight hours. That was first year of the Brad Scott era, and his son celebrating with him before going on his own coaching career. LSU has dominated this series, having won 20 of 23.
Garrett's been banged up a little bit. Dylan Stewart has been living in the backfield. A couple big hits on Nussmeier. Limped off a couple times. Got that right ankle taped up. A couple decisions downfield that he'd like to have back. One right there ended up in an interception. I'd love to see them get the ball out of his hands a little quicker. They got so much speed on the outside. Let's get some of those guys in space.
And here it is, getting rid of it quickly. And he goes to Trey'Daz Green. This guy's a unicorn. He's 6'7", 245. They don't just use him on jump balls. They use him in the open field.
Yeah, he's such an athlete, right? I mean, when you get 2 tight ends in the game, you're going to trigger a different personnel grouping from the defense as well. A little bigger bodies, and then you can use him as kind of a wide receiver. Get him in space on a linebacker, and good things happen.
And now Durham weaves his way through the South Carolina defense. And Cole, it also impacts how the defense identifies number 14 in White. They don't just think of him as a tight end.
No, we asked Clayton White that, and you saw it. He kind of just tight end, not really tight end. Like, I think he's just a guy you got to know if 14's on the field. No matter what you're designating him as, you just realize he's probably a mismatch.
He said it's not 11 personnel, it's not 12, it's like 11 and a half personnel.
Yeah. Tonight's game will not be used as a Tom Amansky video for O-line play.
I used to love those tapes, man.
Offside. Defense number 46. In the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. It's a 5-yard penalty.
All right, I take it back. It was Brian Thomas. You and Fred McGriff can still watch Tom Amansky.
Correction. The yardage will make it a first down.
Tell you what, I used to do the drill up against the wall, you know, where you put your right foot on the wall and you were swinging. See Brian Thomas here trigger just a little early.
From a really good circle. Thank you. Speaking of baseball, great to see Paul Skeens at the game tonight. Jay Johnson, the national championship head coach, stopped by at halftime. Say hello. They got some recruits in town tonight. Down the sideline. There's Trey'Daz Green again. And that is a mismatch on a 6'1" DQ Smith. It's a pickup of 19, and this feels like the coming out party for Trey'Nez Green.
Yeah, this is such a good throw by Garrett Nussmeier. It's tight coverage. And he doesn't throw a line drive back shoulder. He puts a little touch on it because by the time he releases it, Trey'Nez hadn't turned his head yet. Really big time throw, accurate throw downfield from Nuss.
Yeah, 2 catches on the season coming into tonight. He's got 6 for 77 and a tutty so far tonight. By the way, speaking of national champions, D.D. Bro stopped by. Timeout taken by LSU.
Timeout. LSU. The first of the half.
Step away for a timeout. 6:55 to play in the third quarter. Some heavy hearts this week, not just throughout the SEC footprint, but all of college sports. Mark Womack, longtime SEC employee, passed away at the age of 70 on Monday. He spent 47 years working for the Southeastern Conference, including a couple of stints as interim commissioner. Had his hand on football scheduling, the bowl relationships, TV relationships, and our friend Larry Templeton had a funny line. He said he worked his butt off putting the 13-game schedule together, and then Slive walked in one day and said, "Boys, y'all got a 14-team schedule?" Cole, 47 years at the Southeastern Conference. He'll be dearly missed.
I'll tell you, there are not too many better storytellers on this planet than Mark Womack. He was a joy to listen to, could bring a smile to any room, and was just a walking history book of the Southeastern Conference. He will be greatly missed.
First and 10 for Garrett Nussmeier and LSU. Continuing this drive, 4th play of it. Nussmeier flushed, directing traffic on his way. Shane Beamer's hopping mad. The flag comes down back at the 44-yard line. Yeah, I thought Shane was going to go throw the flag himself there for a second. They haven't been able to create as much havoc.
75 offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
No, but you can tell the plan has been all night for South Carolina to single up Weston Davis, the right tackle. Got 3 guys on the other side getting a one-on-one matchup, and Dylan Stewart just escorts Weston Davis right into the lap of Garrett Nussmeier. That's why he's got to escape outside the pocket there.
It's a free shot for the running back. I need him to take that on that rib cage of Dylan Stewart.
Yeah, you got to come over with some authority there if you're chipping on Dylan Stewart.
Nussmeier quickly to the slant, and a break free on the catch and run by Kyle Parker, and he takes it to the house for 43 yards. The sophomore from Allen, Texas, has turned into a featured receiver in this LSU attack, and Parker has his 2nd touchdown of the season. Well, Garrett Nussmeier in his 2 touchdown passes has looked like the Garrett Nussmeier of old. He just hasn't been able to continue that swagger, attitude, and effectiveness through the rest of the game. Damian Ramos, and LSU's up 7.
Boy, just a veteran move by Garrett Nussmeier. You're going to get a blitz. Sean Murphy's going to come right here, so 5 are coming. You got 1 high safety, man coverage across the board, and you got a slant right here on outside leverage. Just replace the blitzer, get Kyle Parker in space, and let him do work. It's a great catch and run. Remember, for a guy as a redshirt sophomore getting more opportunities with the injury to Aaron Anderson, showing why he deserves to be on the field.
Talked a lot about Garrett Nussmeier's injuries. There's been a bevy of them that has limited his arm strength in the end. Has it been visible to you that even on soft touch passes that the injury has kept him from completing those, even when it's not necessarily driving or throwing deep?
Absolutely. You know, one of the things we talked to Joe Sloan about, the ops coordinator, is he was missing high a lot. Why was he doing that? Because he's got the injury to the right side of his abdominal, his torso, which means he was having trouble finishing throws. And so that hand would kind of get under it and that ball would pop up. So even on short throws, even on ones he's not trying to throw a fastball, the accuracy wasn't there. we're seeing a better version of Garrett, a more healthy version. He's had a few misses, but few and far between for what we've seen the last couple weeks.
Aaron Burrell kicks it out of bounds. Let's get you to the studio. Here's Dari.
Free kick out.
Marcel Reed feels like a pretty good investment. They could have gone in the portal, found another quarterback. They believed in him, threw for 234 to this point tonight, and halfway through, they're unblemished.
Yeah, you saw the raw talent from Marcel Reed last year, a little bit more as a runner first. This year, Colin Klein in this offense wanted to develop him as a passer first and then use the athleticism as a weapon. Boy, he is looking better and better each week, and that A&M team is going to be tough to beat.
Sellers lets it go against the zone. They got it beat. It's underthrown by a hair. There is no flag. Trying to find Andrevius Jacobs, and P.J. Woodland had the coverage.
Boy, this is like the second time. It's the same play that Lenore's threw the interception on. You got two vertical routes, but they're inside releasing. I always hated that as a quarterback. The inside release, there's no landmark then. Because there's so much, contact as you're inside releasing, you're not sure, is that going to be on the numbers? Is it going to get outside the numbers? Much different than when your receiver outside releases. I'd love to see them change that up when they take their shots.
Handles the low snap on the handoff to Fuller. Gets bottled up, and that will leave 3rd and 10. What is the landmark on a throw like that if he releases to the outside? Are you throwing to a certain spot?
No, you're throwing to a man, right? And it's different every time. That's what makes it really tough. When your receiver outside releases, you know he's going to hold what we call the red line, which is 5 yards to the sideline. When he inside releases, it just depends. Where's the defender? How far inside does he have to go? Can he get back outside? Really tough to complete those in man coverage.
Now 3rd and 10. Sellers completes it to Hunt. That'll bring up 4th down. On a stop by the freshman DJ Pickett.
Really the only place Sellers could go with the ball there. Man coverage across the board was sticky. And another stalled drive for South Carolina. So you see Xavion Thomas trot out there to return the punt. And we got a little swinging gate out here from South Carolina. Here's some trickery from Shane Beamer.
And then you run Nick Harbor on late. That's an added dimension. Oh, they had the fake set up, and they blew the whistle beforehand. There's a flag in the backfield. Maybe they're saying they weren't set, but I felt like Harbor certainly was.
Illegal procedure, number 24, kicking team. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
That's on the punter.
What did he do?
This is Shane's wondering, but looks like the explanation he got made some sort of sense. I was talking to Shane before the game. He's getting ready to go meet with the officials. A lot of times you'll go over what your trick plays are. Everybody's on the line of scrimmage properly?
I don't know. Huh. They might have had the first down there if the whistle wasn't blown.
Get the punt away, and it trickles out of bounds. And they'll mark that at the 7. It's a 57-yard punt, and a missed opportunity for South Carolina with Beamer ball. It turns into a flag instead of a first down, and Shane Beamer disagrees adamantly. A touchdown got burned on this call from the officiating crew on a fake punt.
Yeah, watch the late substitution is going to trigger the ref to come in from the left side of your screen, and he's holding out the signal to wait, right? Both arms out, but watch as he steps in view of the punter to say, hey, hold on. But as soon as he steps out of view of the punter, in my opinion, the punter's like, okay, we're good, right? What do you expect him to turn around and see when you drop your arms? I just think that's a missed call. South Carolina should have been able to run that play and quite possibly would have picked up a first down.
And Beamer pleading his case, saying, you backed up. Yeah, well, you see, he didn't say that slowly. But
you backed away, he said. Look, and I agree with him. If you're going to hold him to play, stay in front of the guy that's signaling the snap as you would a quarterback or a punter. And then once you're clear, then you step out of his view. If I'm the punter, too, once that ref steps out of my way, I'm thinking, okay, we're good. Just a big call that went not in favor of South Carolina. Could have been a game-changing play.
I would add to it from both the punter's perspective and the center as Nussmeier is trying to escape the end zone and just barely gets out of there before getting shoved out of bounds. LSU did not sub a defense. They were granted the opportunity to with the tees held out by the official, by the white hat. They chose not to. There was nobody coming on the field. They had time to do it and chose not to. And Nussmeier comes up limping again.
Takes another little hit on the sideline there. It's just that right ankle that's been taped up.
Ran into the sticks, he ran into the stanchion, he ran into everything down there.
The stanchion? What is it?
Yeah, they had, you know, that same thing that you broke pregame when we were walking off the field that holds the velvet rope.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that thing.
Yeah. Nussmeier pressured, escapes up the middle, and bomb wheel and all, he will stumble his way to a first down and a little bit more. You ever see a car with a donut speeding down the interstate? That's what Garrett Nussmeier looked like. Spare tire and all, picks up 21.
Watch Jaron Willis right here is going to be on a stunt. They're going to bring both guys this way. They're trying to attack Cohen Eccles, the left guard that's replacing Paul Mabinga. And this does a great job by Nuss of letting the pressure pass you, stepping up, and even with that bum ankle, big gain and a big play with his legs. You kind of can tell who South Carolina is trying to target, I think, up front for LSU.
Nussmeier letting Steve Marlowe know they didn't reset the play clock. You know, the word from the LSU coaching staff is that Garrett Nussmeier's trying to be perfect. He's trying to be perfect in every play call. He's trying to be perfect in every throw. And that's Brian Kelly and Joe Sloan want him to just let it hang out and go play ball. Here's a run by Juwan Johnson, and now a foot race. And Johnson finally caught from behind by Peyton Williams. LSU's run game has exploded for some big ones tonight. That one covers 56 yards.
Well, we've been talking about this run game, going back to basics, working on the sleds, working on the shoots. Watch the double team right here. That is great pad level, great movement from Braylon Moore and Cohen Eccles right there to open up the hole for Juwan Johnson.
You know, we're here a couple of weeks ago talking to Joe Sloan. He said, we're not going to have a consistent run game. It's going to be 2 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, 20. And that was the longest LSU run of the season.
That actually sounded pretty consistent.
Now off the left side.
But Cole, that's a great example of just low hat level physicality at the point of attack for LSU in that double team. Something that Joe Sloan mentioned. We want to do more duo. We want to give our offensive line an opportunity to fire off, double team, and get some push.
And also an understanding that it's not all just power based. The timing of knowing when to come off that linebacker approaching the line of scrimmage, Jordan, get a hat on a hat, and that's what allowed the cutback from the back to be able to make a big run.
Now 2nd and 8. Nick Anderson in motion. Nussmeier slings it, and it is picked up at the goal line. It is Peyton Williams with the takeaway, and the placement of this is going to be key. They say he was out of the end zone. He'll be inside the 1 yard line instead of a touchback. But the third takeaway tonight for this South Carolina defense.
This is an RPO from Garrett Nussmeier. It's a bad decision. He's going to get a guy coming off the edge, but the RPO action is actually supposed to be off this guy. If he triggers, then you throw it. He doesn't, and that's the guy that's going to get the interception. That RPO should be triggered off the 3rd level. You're running to the right. Oh, you see he caught that, yeah, just out, just in the field of play. looks like. That was a little bit of a selfish decision by Nuss there, trying to squeeze a touchdown in when you could just hand it off. That guy moved actually out of the way of the runner's path.
I would counter to this. His head coach told us, I want you to play with more swagger. I want you to be the guy of old.
Yes, within the confines of the system, right? That was bending the rules of that RPO a little bit, trying to fit into a window that maybe you didn't have to in the red zone. And maybe that's the play that we've talked about, this Clayton White defense, living on havoc, living on turnovers. Can South Carolina capitalize and even this thing up?
99 yards to go to tie it. They have a false start. Back them up halfway.
False start, 52 offense. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
You know, I've always thought when you're backed up like this, you know, why not take a half-hour break? Just take infinity amount of false starts that can only move it so far back, and then you can just get a good, get a good break, get some Gatorade,
get a breather.
Yeah, take 6 or 7 false starts in a row and reset.
They've loaded up the box. South Carolina trying to get it out of the end zone. And Lenora Sellers.
It's where you need a little tush push. I mean, Lenoris is every bit the size of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Oh, it was funny. I asked Garrett Nussmeier about it when we met with him yesterday. I said, hey, I need your stance with the tush push. He said, my dad was on the Eagles staff last year. I am 100% for it.
I think you almost do the same thing again here. See if you can get another yard or two to give yourself a little more breathing room.
They fake the jet sweep. And face on. Picks up maybe a couple.
To your point about what Brian Kelly told us and told his quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, wanting him to be more aggressive, wanting to play with more swagger. Both the interceptions are plays that he forced a little bit. Not necessarily terrible decisions, but risky decisions that maybe we saw Garrett do last year. I think we're seeing a little bit more of the confidence today, and it's paid off, and it's also hurt him at times.
Very rarely they go under center. They do it here. And they fumbled the exchange to start the game. Sellers rolls right, goes back across the grain, and that's a first down catch. Hunt got leveled by Nick Harbor and company. And the South Carolina tight end just barely gets to his feet. That'll bring it into the third quarter. They got some breathing room and a fresh set of downs. LSU trying to hold on. It's a touchdown lead for the Tigers here in Death Valley. Nussmeier's got a roll, and Shane Beamer has not seen much that he likes tonight except for this last pick. LSU clinging to a touchdown lead despite turning the ball over moments ago. Cole Kublik with Brian Kelly.
Coach Kelly, run game seems like it's picking up there in the third quarter. How do you continue that in the fourth?
Well, we got to take care of the ball. I mean, the run game is much better, no question. They're playing a wide 9. We should be able to run counter over there. I mean, it's the turnovers. I mean, we've turned the ball over on the goal line. That's inexcusable. You can't do that against an SEC team. That's why we got a ball game.
Thanks, Coach.
They have been perfect in the red zone the last couple of games, but they turned it over twice in the low red zone tonight. Here's a bounce to the outside by Rachel Faison. He picks up 7 yards on first down. After the interception, this drive began on its own 1-yard line, and Carolina trying to get out of here as we start the fourth quarter by advancing it down the field. They converted a big third down. Faison in the second half has already ran for 40. Here he is again off the right side. Faison is a well-traveled running back as he picks up 14 yards. Got a late waiver to practice with the team in his 7th year of college football. He wasn't eligible until August 25th. These are all the different stops he had before making his way to Columbia. And now Sellers keeps it, tries to win a race to the edge. Like a late shot. Won't be flagged as Harold Perkins chased him down.
Tom, I'll still say one of the wildest things I think we have ever heard in a coaches meeting is when Shane Beamer told us they're getting ready to go into game week preparation. And he said, I got NFL scouts asking me about Faison. Said they want to get him in camp. I didn't know if he was going to be practicing for us to prepare for the opener or being in an NFL training camp like 3-4 days later.
Quite an addition. It's like a waiver wire pickup late in the year. Sellers lets it rip, and he finds Nick Harbor. And Harbor takes it down to the 37. Pretty good target if you can find number 8.
Big target, and they gave him a lot of room at the line of scrimmage. Any guy that can run a 10-100 meter, you want to make sure you're playing deeper than normal, and they did on that play and took advantage of all the green grass.
Eighth play of the drive. Face on. Keeps it going. Played a senior of high school in 2017 in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. He rushed for 2,900 yards and 42 touchdowns. He was 3-time first-team All-State in Pennsylvania.
This is an area of the field South Carolina has struggled. They've been down inside the 40-yard line a few times, and then a penalty or a sack or a big mistake would push them out of field goal range.
Sellers looking for Harbor. He's covered and escapes the pocket. Steps for another would-be tackler. Outraces another. And he picks up a first down on a busted play.
I tell you what, it's like a video game with Lenore Sellers. Like the way he bounces off guys and navigates. I mean, how many times tonight have we seen him get contacted in the pocket and somehow skirts out, breaks a tackle, and turns a negative into a positive real quick?
It'll be 20 on the day of the NFL draft. And a whistle.
The ruling on the field is the ball carrier made the line to gain. The previous play is under further review.
They're going to check the spot as Sellers went out of bounds on the far sideline. Remember that last possession for Shane Beamer in South Carolina, it looked like they had converted a fake punt. It was whistled dead.
The ball's in the right hand here for Sellers. See if that right foot goes, it looks like it's out of bounds. Ball's way back.
If it was the left foot that went down first, and it's probably a first down. This will give us a look.
Look where the ball is, though. He actually almost reaches it backwards.
Yeah, you're right.
Right when he's still, I think that's well short, like a yard from the previous angle.
So if this is reversed, it'll leave South Carolina with 3rd and 1. And Shane Beamer taking this opportunity to talk Cole primarily with his offensive line.
I think the main issue there we hadn't really talked about yet,
After further
Tom.
review, the ball carrier did not make the line to gain. He stepped out of bounds at the 28. It'll be 3rd down at that spot.
If my numbers are correct, based on Cedric Surratt being out, Nolan Hay, Case, and Henry also not going tonight. There are 8 scholarship linemen in attendance for South Carolina right now that have the ability to play football. Not the numbers you want.
Not ideal.
You take a shot here, or you just run it?
No, with the lack of success they've had in this area of the field, getting the ball into the red zone, you want to pick up this first down, keep this drive going. You got a 240-pound quarterback. I'd use him.
And he's got Fuller behind him. Fuller gets upfield and picks up the first down.
Well, it's a really good job by Matt Fuller. You got an LSU defender that came right through the A-gap, Bernard Gooden. Fuller, little jump cut to the right, getting north and south. Watch the vision here by Fuller. as Gooden comes right through. Bam, little jump cut, hesitation, a great job of sticking his foot in the ground and getting north and south, knowing he just needs the 1 yard.
At Wayne County High School in Jessup, Georgia, for Jabo Shaw, the brother of former Carolina quarterback Connor Shaw, and at 1st and 10, a jump on the left side of the line.
No, that's Boaz Stanley again.
All right, Cole, you played center in this league. You played center in this building.
False start, 50 offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
What is happening at the center position tonight?
Well, I think there's a misunderstanding of what the snap count is, or what the indicator is to then go snap the football. There's obviously some confusion there, because as Jordan pointed out earlier in the game, we've seen Sellers go make a look, and then all of a sudden there's an attempt at the snap. But here's the problem right there when you see that talk. Just snap the football. Start the play.
Yeah.
54 yards of penalties for Carolina. Sellers, before being flushed, launches it and perhaps got out of the pocket.
You can't have that after picking up a first down, getting inside the 30-yard line, then you back yourself up to 1st and 15. This is where LSU thrives, when Blake Baker can dial up pressure.
Intentional grounding, offense number 16. Penalties, a loss of down at the spot of the foul. Second down.
It's the second intentional grounding committed by Lenore Sellers tonight.
Boy, and once again, the second time he's kind of scrambled back to his right, but not gotten far enough outside the pocket, because remember, he's got to get out there. Still a couple yards inside the frame of that right tackle.
That is a loss of 13 yards. It leaves 2nd and 28. The mistakes compounding for South Carolina tonight. Brian Kelly happy to collect his winnings, and they keep giving them to him. 4-man rush. Sellers ducks his way out of the pocket and gets taken down at the 35 by Harold Perkins.
Another great effort by Lenore Sellers, but because of the penalties, you've only got yourself back to, what, 3rd and 18? Jeez.
They've averaged 3rd and 9 of their 13 third down attempts.
Again, got to pick up about 5 yards to be in field goal range.
They bring the house. Sellers can't escape. Went Weeks. And that brings up 4th down for South Carolina.
I mean, again, you're just going to get an overload pressure to this side. And that's what you can't do. You cannot be in 3rd and long against Blake Baker and this LSU defense that is not scared to play man coverage and bring pressure even in 3rd and forever. And again, penalties and mistakes bump South Carolina out of field goal range and stall another really good drive.
4th sack of the night for LSU tonight. They're dancing down in Chalmette after that one, and this punt kicks out of bounds inside the 10. 27-yard punt. A hard-fought but yet empty possession for South Carolina. Nussmeier going back to work. Mobile 5G home internet. Sloppy both sides. LSU has turned it over in the red zone twice. In fact, right at the goal line twice tonight. 2 of their 3 turnovers. Garrett Nussmeier has thrown a pair of picks.
And this is where, if you're Joe Sloan and you're Garrett Nussmeier, you have to play this drive like you know you have an elite defense on the other side that's playing really well. Risk averse. Try to take some time off this clock and pick up a couple first downs, unless Dylan Stewart decides to blow up your run in the backfield.
But Cole, it was interesting. We're here right after the Florida game. They picked off DJ Lagway 5 times, and Brian Kelly made it clear. He said it's not the OC's job to worry about that. It's my job to control the game and to put us in the best position to win. And if I want to take the air out of the ball, that's my job to do so.
Absolutely. And this is a spot where if it's me, this is 3 handoffs or you're fired.
2nd and 12. See if Stewart's tackle behind the line of scrimmage has changed things. They go 5 wide here. It won't be 3 handoff. And he's able to go the short way, and the completion to Harlem Berry out of the backfield. Jalen Kilgore was banged up early in the game, didn't miss much time. He's in on the stop, and that leaves 3rd and 8. So how, as an offensive coordinator, can you call a pass play to make Garrett Nussmeier more safe than risky?
Well, what they did right there, spread things out. It clears the picture for a quarterback. It doesn't allow the defense to disguise coverages at all. Here you see South Carolina showing pressure.
Looking for Trey'Nez Green. He's covered. And behind the intended receiver, Berry. Or pardon me, Durham. And that'll be a 3 and out for LSU. So to Cole's point, not only did you put it in the air a couple times, you didn't run any clock.
No doubt. And the pressure spooked Garrett Nussmeier a little bit. Watch Trey'Nez Green. If he just hangs tight, watch this route come open right over here. It's going to cross the hash and be wide open. He's got a chance to squeeze that ball in there. Obviously feels a little bit of the pressure, just trying to check it down, which I don't mind that decision, but 3 and out.
Bakari Swain back to return for Carolina and take it off a hop, and he's got a seam. Bakari Swain down the sideline, and South Carolina's going to be in fantastic field position after forcing the 3 and out. Lenore Sellers back to work. South Carolina midway through the 4th quarter, trailing by a touchdown.
SEC Saturday Night is presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet. If you didn't know T-Mobile has home internet, you do now.
Best starting field position of the night for South Carolina, and Lenore Sellers got to turn into a video game superstar if they want to close this out and tie the game.
When you watch him play, it's almost like old school Street Fighter, right? A big uppercut, and then somehow he rebounds and gets on the offensive like a Hadouken. It's unbelievable the way he bounces off guys like the old school Nintendo game. You know, you hit a big and you're like, oh, he's done for sure. And then somehow lands on its feet, comes back after you.
Hold on.
One-on-one, Lenore Sellers is going to have to put a Superman cape on and win this game for South Carolina.
Don't fake. You're a Sonic the Hedgehog guy. I already know that.
Street Fighter more Sega Genesis than Nintendo, I believe.
Yeah, you're. Oh, no. You're wrong there.
Super Nintendo, maybe?
I had a Sega Genesis.
Pressure on Sellers, lobs it down the sideline. It is incomplete.
I had to play it with my friends because I didn't have the Nintendo.
Well, that pass looked more like a ColecoVision. They just haven't been able to hit on the deep balls, and he is only 13 of 24 tonight.
You see the uptick in designated runs. The problem is he's had to scramble because of pressure in the pocket a lot more than they've been able to design runs and sit in the pocket and deliver the ball downfield.
Straight ahead, maybe a yard.
And I really feel like this is 4-down territory for South Carolina. If you can pick up 4, 5, 6 yards, I mean, you got to get 4, right?
Yeah.
5 or 6 yards would be great. Get yourself in like a 4th and 3. I think that's somewhere where Shane Beamer would roll the dice. Let's see if the play calling matches what I'm thinking.
There's 1 of 9 on 3rd and 7 or longer tonight. Faison. All right.
Close, right? You run the football hoping you can pick up that 5 or 6 yards. You're close. Was it 4th and 4?
All right, so you think about what they have at their disposal within the offense, what they love, the splitter, running off of that or putting it in the air. Does that play work here?
Yeah, you'd love to get Lenore Sellers outside the pocket. The problem is you're on the right hash with a right-handed quarterback. Don't know if I love that.
They're 6 of 11. Pressure coming. Sellers lets it fly, and it's deflected by Mansour Delay. And a turnover on downs. And the the senior from Silver Spring, Maryland, who had 11 tackles against Ole Miss, comes up with a huge pass breakup here.
Don't love going one-on-one against one of the best man-to-man cover corners in all of football, Mansour Delane, and a big stop for LSU. Still up 17-10.
Throughout this season, every time a field goal or an extra point is made by participating universities, All-State will make a contribution to the general scholarship fund of that university. We say thanks to All-State. Nussmeier gets it out quickly. This is Trey'Dez Green who turns it upfield.
Trey'Dez Green has just been a mismatch. His 10th target of the game, 7 receptions, 95 yards and a touchdown. They are loving having big number 14 back and healthy in this lineup.
Missed some time earlier this season. He also, in that Ole Miss game, had a really good block on a touchdown run by Harlem Berry. Goes on as a splitter, the tight end coming over. And I think people were right to say, well, hey, he's 6'7", 245. Is he a receiver? Can he block a little bit? Nussmeier off his back foot. Jalen Kilgore had the pressure. Man.
Nussmeier, back of that jersey, getting real dirty. Good coverage downfield, so Kilgore late able to get to Nussmeier. Man, after that, I love the call previously. Pass when probably everyone thinks you're going to run the football, but then you pass midfield, run the football at first down. You know, you got under 5 minutes. You're trying to force South Carolina to use some timeouts. You want to milk this clock. Now you're second long and put yourself behind the chains.
Green in motion. They run it off right tackle. Here's Caden Durham. And Durham got blasted after picking up the first down by Peyton Williams. The pickup of 15.
A really good job up front once again. Braylon Moore, the center, on a big one-on-one block, but it's good to see this LSU run game get going between the tackles. It's not something that has really worked with any consistency so far this year. I think getting back to old school fundamentals up front really paying off for this offensive line. They look a lot better tonight.
Trying to cash in and make it a 2-score game. Pressure up the middle. Nussmeier setting up the screen. Threw it low. The Bowers sharp.
Problem was you had a defender in the left B gap that was just left alone. Wasn't influenced, wasn't touched. So Nussmeier was staring right at him. I can imagine tough to make that toss.
Yeah, that was big Monkel Goodwine. Play was actually perfect call. They bring pressure up the gut. It's got a chance, but you're right, Cole. It's tough to kind of find the lane when you got a 305-pound body sitting right where you're trying to throw it.
And Nussmeier's got to use a timeout with the play clock expiring.
Timeout. LSU, their second of the half. 30-second timeout.
2nd and 10 for LSU. Brian Kelly has not been happy with Garrett Nussmeier's pre-snap decisions. Time to check in with the studio. Here's Dari.
He's walking the tunnel.
Wow, what a scene there. Big win for the Longhorns. Let's go back to this exchange between Brian Kelly and Garrett Nussmeier. There was a 4th and 1 last week against Ole Miss where Nussmeier used the timeout. I talked to both of them about it, and Nussmeier said, I knew what the checks were. I just didn't have time to get to it. Kelly says, just run the play. One of the issues from the quarterback position, Jordan, is if you don't have time with the play clock to get to the checks, whose fault is that? The play caller or the signal call?
It's a little bit of both. You want to get those plays in quicker when they have multiple options for Garrett Nussmeier.
Gets rid of this one cleanly and a turn back to the inside for a first down. But that is Barry on Brown.
But on the other hand, it goes to what we've been talking about with what Brian Kelly wants out of his quarterback. Be decisive. It doesn't have to be perfect. We got a play called. Everyone knows what it's supposed to be. Just run it.
Yeah. They'll bring subs in, looking at a 1st and 10. Juwan Johnson will be alone back. They're late getting to this one. Play clock at 2. Low snap. Steps up, fires to the end zone. Trinidad Green with the catch down at the line.
I mean, Garrett Nussmeier's at the point where he's just going, you know, Trinidad Green down there somewhere. I'm just going to put it up in his vicinity. Look at the athleticism. I mean, that is a really tough catch. The coverage is really, really good from DQ Smith. He's right in position. Ball's where it should be, and that's a big man with a big wingspan. It's just rebounding the football right now.
If they can punch it in here, they might just seal it. Caden Durham is in the backfield. There's Green. Leading blockers. Durham to the goal line and stops short. Now keep in mind, LSU has turned it over at the goal line twice already in this game. They can let this thing run all the way down to the 2-minute timeout.
Trinidad Green came into this game with 2 receptions for 17 yards on the year.
Yep.
He has 8 receptions for 119 yards and a touchdown.
They're going to bring Pyburn into the backfield here, Cole. They're getting big.
Absolutely, bring in the big boys. And I love earlier, saw a couple guys down a little 4-point stance.
Ooh.
Down near the goal line. We see a little bear crawl coming off.
Cole is getting excited.
It didn't work. But they did
2-minute timeout.
LSU the chance to try to seal this thing when we return from the 2-minute timeout. Tigers looking for their 9th straight win against South Carolina. Red zone did more like the Kenny Loggins danger zone for Brian Kelly tonight. 4 possessions, only 1 touchdown and 1 field goal. They've turned it over twice. They came in 8 for the last 8, all touchdowns. 2nd and goal for Garrett Nussmeier after the completion of Trinidad Green. Caden Durham is the running back. They're going to go QB sneak under center, and Nussmeier stops short. Jalen Kilgore came crashing in and pulled Nussmeier back. That's the reverse tush push. The tush pull. The ball came out late.
Timeout, South Carolina. Their first of the half.
Oh, that ball
30-second
was
timeout.
Definitely out. That is
got lucky just to fall on
Yeah.
top of it. What do you think about the QB sneak under center for a guy who's got a bad wheel?
I was just going to say, like, normally I like the call. I don't think enough teams do it on the 1-yard line. But when you got a bum ankle that you're trying to push off of, you've been beat up all night. Don't know if I love it.
It leaves 3rd and goal.
That's where I love it. They brought in Bauer Sharp, guy that was formerly a quarterback, tight end. Put him under center. Let him QB sneak it.
And he ran a lot of Wildcat when he was at Southeastern Louisiana.
Now, hold on a second. We got mad at South Carolina for opening up the game under center. And we want to take our hybrid flex tight end and put him under center on the goal
We're just spitballing, you know? I'm not saying they should do it right now. I'm saying maybe that's something they have in the game plan for the future.
Noted. Noted.
Yeah, just hand the ball off, okay? Let's not overcomplicate.
1:54 to play after South Carolina used a timeout.
You are at the 3-yard line now, though. This is not just an easy hand it off, fall forward.
Well, they took Trinidad Green out of the game. He's now on the sideline. So that fade to the 6'7" tight end is
The rookie on the field was a fumble recovered by the offense at the 3-yard line. 2nd down, 3rd down.
Green not an option here. 3rd and goal. Still make it a 2-score game if they can't find the end zone with the chip shot field goal. Sharp and Pyburn in the backfield leading the way for Durham. Got tripped up and taken down. That'll be a loss of 2. Shane Beamer immediately calls a timeout. And the snap was bumbled by Nussmeier. Timing was thrown off right at the beginning. Once again, under center rarely
Dylan Stewart knifed through the C gap here and met Bauer Sharp, and watch the impact here.
South Carolina.
Blew him up.
The second of the half. 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 1 minute, 50 seconds. 150.
That is a heck of a play. A little trouble with the snap, but watch Dylan Stewart. I mean, that made the play, right? Caden Durham had to bounce outside, nowhere to go.
Thank you.
Now it gets interesting.
Well, it's a chip shot field goal for Damian Ramos, who hasn't missed an extra point this season. It is just a hair behind extra point.
You know why I say interesting, though? Who's the coach on the other side? You never know. Weird stuff happens in special teams when Shane Beamer's on the other side.
They blocked a punt against LSU last year. They blocked it with their tight end. And let's see, it was Mo Brown who came over the protector last year, and South Carolina built a 17-0 lead.
These short field goals are really tough to block because the kicker doesn't need to drive it, right? You can pop this up really easy. So going to need to win quickly on the edges if you're going to have a shot at staying in this game if you're South Carolina.
44 Mo Brown over the right guard. 22-yard attempt for Ramos. They load up that right side. And he drills it. The 2-score lead for LSU. 1:46 to play in the fourth quarter. And now makes it a lot tougher for South Carolina. They're going to have to drive the field just to put themselves in position with an onside kick.
Yeah, and they've been able to sustain drives until they get onto the plus side of the territory. Then it's been mistakes over and over. 4 times they've been inside LSU's 40-yard line. Missed field goals, penalties, and they've punted. Just haven't been able to convert those drives. That's really been the story of the game.
The mistakes on the offensive line have kept them from getting into any rhythm.
Yeah, they can't push the ball downfield because LSU is manning up on the outside, bringing pressure, 1 or 2 more than South Carolina is able to protect with. And Sellers hasn't had the time. He's had to scramble around, a couple penalties because he's had to get rid of it before he wanted to while still in the pocket. It has been pretty for the South Carolina offense.
Special teams have been sensational under Shane Beamer. See if they have something drawn up on the return here. And their best field position of the night, and that previous possession off a Bakari Swain return. Nick Carver is all the way at the back of the end zone. I think he wants to bring it out regardless of how deep it is. And he'll do just that with a running start. And Harbor falls forward and takes it out to the 20.
You're right. Almost his heels on the end line there. And he might as well, right? I mean,
the only way you can get deeper is if you're playing in Canada.
Yeah, because those end zones are bigger. Yeah.
16 plays in LSU territory since halftime and only 3 points to show for it.
And it's been self-inflicted wounds on that side of the field time and time again. And this is where Lenore Sellers has got to make some magic happen with minute 42. They got to score quick and try to get an onside kick to get back in this game.
He's able to get rid of it, complete to Vandravius Jacobs, and he's forced out of bounds.
Jacobs, a quiet night. Just his second reception coming off back-to-back 100-yard games. This LSU defense, the secondary's for real. DBU's back. You know,
what's better, this LSU defense or the rolls at Supper Club?
Oh my God, those rolls! I could have 2 plates of those rolls.
2?
Oh yeah, easy.
Sellers chased and taken down in the backfield. A sack for DJ Pickett. It's the 5th of the night for LSU. Timeout taken by Shane Beamer.
Once again, Blake Baker doing a great job of forcing the protection to slide in this direction and then looping the blitzer backside. So you're able to dictate slide protection and then attack it on the backside. With 2 guys, it's just...
Give Jack Piben a lot of credit there. He's lined up outside the left tackle, Jordan, and as you mentioned, they slide to the right. He takes that left tackle almost an extra gap down, and that's what opened up the edge to allow that looper to be able to get north and south.
Sellers.
That's why he was such a great ad. Piper, I'm sorry, guys. He was such a great ad to this defense because he just I told you last time we were here, he's like Ram Man from He-Man. Like, he just likes to run into walls. Like, he'll do all the dirty work. As long as it's punishing somebody, he'll do any of the dirty work you want to.
Florida transfer. You're going to need to explain to me who Ram Man from He-Man is. I missed that one.
You missed Ram Man?
I don't know what that is. Never been to Castle Grayskull.
Jeez.
3rd and 20. Sellers took a shot to the head at the end of that sack. They will drop 8, rush 3. And they still got to him. Ram Man from He-Man only got a hand on him, and Sellers stepped away again. Hybern's going to be thinking about all the times Sellers got away.
And this is what constant pressure does to a quarterback. You start to watch the rush instead of feel the rush. And I think we're seeing Sellers in the second half here, trying to escape the pocket, maybe a little early just because he's feeling the pressure instead of looking downfield. That was one thing Mike Shula said, I want you to feel the rush, not watch it, but pretty hard to do when you're under constant heat for 4 quarters.
Last gas for the Gamecocks. Sellers pulls it back, goes underneath instead of over the middle, and that will do it for South Carolina as they turn it over on downs again. But Weeks is telling Russ who will face on to call Chef Leighton Carbo and try the bone-in ribeye. Well, this will be a solid win for LSU. Every win in the conference is hard-earned and well-deserved, and on a night where still offensively they were imperfect, they managed to put up 422 yards of offense, thanks in large part the Nussmeier-Green combination, which accounted for 119.
Yeah, and the turnovers are really the story. The one fumble at the goal line, the interception going in the red zone as well, that kept this offense from what might have been a really big night. But this team, LSU, you mentioned the imperfections. The defense being as good as it is, if Garrett Nussmeier is healthy and has his fastball, this is still a team that's going to be 5-1. That's going to be better on both sides of the ball, that could really still have an opportunity to make a big push for a playoff run, an SEC championship, with the way the defense is playing.
And we talked to Joe Sloan about that. Of all the imperfections, I said, listen, and Brian Kelly, your defense, to your point, is elite. The offense still has a long way to go, but they're showing signs. So why not ramp up over the course of this season? One loss is not going to kill you.
No doubt. And the offense has the potential to be elite.
Indeed.
It's not like, oh, I don't know, they can't be good. No, they can be elite. We've just seen ups and downs, and obviously with the health of Nussmeier looking much better tonight, we saw what we've been looking for out of this offense, albeit imperfect. Much more complimentary football tonight from LSU on both sides.
Brian Kelly is standing by with Cole Kubelik.
Not a perfect game tonight, Coach, but I know you have to be proud of some of the grit and some of the result that your team showed to be able to hang on and get this win.
I am. It's hard to win in the SEC, and South Carolina played hard tonight. I'm proud of our guys. They had to come in and compete, and they competed for 4 quarters. It wasn't pretty, but those are things that we can correct. You know, you can't be on the goal line 3 times and come up with 3 points. But having said that, we still come out with a 10-point win. We just got to be better moving forward.
Should we expect more shoots and sled in the near future?
I'd like to just get the snap, and if we could do that, we're going to work on some direct snap on Monday and Tuesday until our hands are red and raw. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yeah, the turnovers were killer, and those issues need to be solved before the next step for LSU. But the Fighting Tigers of Louisiana State University are now 5-1, 2-1 in the conference with a win on this Saturday night. Let's get you to the studio. Here's Dari.